In the NBA, the San Antonio Spurs couldn't make it 3 in a row as they fell to the Houston Rockets 114-101. Devin Vassell led the way with 22 points. Victor, in what was a tired performance, offered 10 points, 11 rebounds, and 7 blocks. The Dallas Cowboys are exercising the fifth-year option on Micah Parsons.
How good you want to be? From play one to the last play, we fighting. Today's about opportunity and character. We got a chance to come out here and play football. It's a blessing. Hey, every season is full of defining moments. Let's make this day a defining moment for us in our quest. Let's go, baby.
This is the Morning Huddle on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star with Rob Thompson and the managing editor of Blogging the Boys, RJ Ochoa. Now, here are the guys.
Hey, gather around. We got something to talk about. It's the Morning Huddle. He's RJ Ochoa, managing editor of Blogging the Boys. Well-dressed as always, if you want to prove it. Find out for yourself. Go check out our feed, our video channel there on the YouTubes. You can get there at YouTube. We are the Morning Huddle here on San Antonio Sports Star. You can listen on any device you want. We'd like to welcome on Rudy this morning. Hey, we'll air our grievances later. Oh no, we suck again will be the term, I think, for a lot of the favorite teams around the greater San Antonio area. I'm Rob Thompson, Easy E driving this boat. Welcome to 4 hours of the greatest time you're going to have before the sun rises. We are going to get into the Spurs as they did go down to the Houston Rockets in that was a rough one last night. Even Pop was a little angry. We're going to hear from him, talk about a loss. That last night just didn't go well. I just don't know. I mean, it was a little chippy. We didn't play particularly well. Not like the Rockets played great either. It was just an ugly game between two young teams, and that one team just a little bit more physical than the other at the end of the day.
It was why I think everyone has been slow to buy in at any point, right? Oh, cool, you look good. Oh, cool, you win a game. Oh, cool, you did it two times in a row. Oh, awesome. Maybe did by 5, whatever. Ultimately, you're a young team, a bad team, one that even one of the worst teams in the NBA, relatively speaking, can take advantage of. It wasn't just that the Spurs lost. They got taken advantage. The Spurs, the Rockets completely executed their game plan against the Spurs. Like, that's a really just unsettling truth to have to live in the middle of today.
In the parlance of my sons and their friends, we got bodied.
Yeah,
they were tougher than we were.
Put in the mud, according to Pop.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting conversation. We do it every day at 7 and hourly. We talk about our San Antonio Spurs. We call it Talking Silver and Black. Make sure you are subscribed to the party that happens every day at 7. We got some Tom Segura tickets to give away at some point today. It will happen in the mix between our morning crew and our normal people crew about 8:15 is when we're going to give away those Tom Segura tickets. So you're going to want to be here for those. He'll be here in just a couple of nights down at our beautiful Frost Bank Center. Be here at 8:15 for Tom Segura. We're going to look at the Dallas Cowboys now through the prism of the franchise tags have now been extended. Well, they'll be signed here in a couple of days. We know who's going to get that average of 5. The Cowboys don't have a franchise tag hanging out there. It's been a minute since that's been the case. We'll look at Houston. Dalton Schultz is not franchised. Got himself a nice deal yet again. And Saquon Barkley has hit the market. The effect of the running back market collapse is being the beneficiary of the soft running back market are the tight ends. Tight ends are now more valuable than running backs. That's inverted and it's wrong. There's blood on the streets. And we're going to talk about how do you take advantage of a down market in the NFL? Is it like an investor? Do you go buy these things because they're cheap? Or do you truly let the market bear out the fact that you can find guys that look a lot like the really good guys for half the price?
It's an interesting thing to say that tight ends are more valuable than running backs, but you mentioned Dalton Schultz, who could be teammates with Saquon this time next week.
Yeah, and we'll be making more.
Not in an official capacity, as the new league year does begin a week from today, but not until 3 p.m. Central Time. Dalton's making $12 million a year, whereas NFL teams are scoffing at the idea of paying a running back anywhere near that amount.
Tell me that's not ridiculous.
It isn't ridiculous. I think you're ridiculous if you think it's ridiculous. There's
Really?
nothing but a mountain of data to prove that this is the way to think and operate.
I don't care. I don't care. You can bring me this
I don't care
Moneyball
about all the
stuff.
facts and
All
all the
I know is
evidence.
most tight ends don't open the car door for their girlfriend. I don't know. Have you looked? You remember Moneyball when their guys giving his stats and reasons why you pick this guy up or draft him, and the old timey scouts were like, I don't like him because he's got an ugly girlfriend. You're like, what? That's it. That's kind of when we're talking about running backs and tight ends. You can tell me all you want, but old school guys will scoff at the idea that we've reached a time in the NFL where tight ends are a more valuable commodity, both on the field and on the paybook, than running backs. It just doesn't make any sense.
The whole time you guys have to deal with
I
reality.
agree.
Welcome to the new world.
But I can also tell you,
Bitcoin
Bitcoin hit a high and then collapsed. I can also
collapse.
It did. I can also tell you that the housing market hit a high and then collapsed. There are fallacies in the market. There are perceptions that are wrong that are, when proven right, cause markets to utterly collapse. And I feel like there's somebody in about 3 years is going to be, excuse me, looking at their roster going, why the hell are we paying a tight end $17 million a year to catch 60 balls? Why are we doing that? Which is kind of where we're headed.
It's because they're weapons in the passing game. The quickest way to the end zone is through the air and not on the ground. You mentioned 3 years. Who do you think led the NFL in rushing 3 years ago?
Saquon.
No.
I don't know.
Saquon has never led the league in rushing.
Oh, he should
over here, deeply offended because the Giants don't want to pay him $12 million. He has never led the league in rushing. If you count 2023, 3 years ago from there, it was Derrick Henry during the COVID season in 2020. That was his 2,000-yard season. And even then, if you count now, it was Jonathan Taylor, who had to completely and totally beg the Colts to pay him somewhat commensurate with the idea that you're talking about. It's the most dependent position in the NFL on circumstances around it. That's why it's not worth that much money unless you have the one of one, who is Christian McCaffrey or peak Derrick Henry. It's okay, Rob. It's okay.
I think that is a short-term view. I think that we will find in the next 2 or 3 years.
And a half's worth of information and evidence to support this claim.
I think we're going to find in the next 2 or 3 years an offense will be devised that will take advantage of the current rules and allow, and a team will just decide, you know what, we are going to run the football. And then there'll be another team that will do it
with cheap labor because they
no,
can't.
You're right.
That's
until that one of one arrives again. But there's no safer way to build a football team than behind a running back.
Wow. Bill Danaher loves this segment.
She sure does. Brian of Cal Allen, Texas is a happy man right now. We're going to talk a lot about this and other interesting subjects around the NFL and college football. Arch Manning back in the news. I saw this thing floating around earlier today, and I found it very interesting because it hit me as a San Antonio Spurs fan. And it was just one of these social media quotes kind of floating around. What active players current active players that are in the current lexicon, whether they recently retired or still around, deserve a statue in the city there? In San Antonio, you go, well, the list has already started. I mean, David, Tim, don't they pop?
If you're talking about, I think the interesting part of this is like active players.
Well, yeah, but I started thinking, well, who's active? And I thought, well, I can't even start with active because if you want to talk about deserving of statues, we got to go. We got other business to attend to. But there are some, LeBron is obviously there. I'm not sure if Lionel Messi doesn't already deserve a statue in front of the Miami Stadium after only playing like 5 games. But the effect that he brought. But if I'm Iowa, there better be a Caitlin Clark about 9 feet tall in front of that stadium as fast as possible. Who else?
Caitlin Clark, Jason Kelsey, obviously just had a bit of a week. I mean, that's because the Eagles have a statue to commemorate a team he was on. Other than that, in the NFL,
well, save
active players.
Think about it. We're going to talk about it about 7:45.
KD deserves a statue.
Well, which city?
And
Pick one.
you could give him a statue in Oklahoma City and the Bay Area.
Well, we're digging into some reasons.
Steph and Clay. I mean,
Yeah, but I would argue that Steph and Clay deserve one far more than KD, and that's the kind of argument. Just because you came here and you brought a name, don't you have to have a prerequisite ring? Don't you have to bring something to the table? Maybe that's.
I think that KD's accomplishments in Golden State speak for themselves.
Speaking of accomplishments, when we look around the NBA today, we will discuss KD as he passed Iceman for a rather important, one of those stats things that you're proud of. He passed the ice in a stat that you go, oh, of course, ice was up there at number 12. So let's do this right. You feeling good? You're carbo loaded? You're hydrated? You ready to dive in?
I have oats in my belly and coffee on the way, and I'm very excited to talk to you.
Well, we're going to invert the show. Ordinarily, we end it with grievances, but Cowboy fan, we know you're mad. Is this the maddest the Cowboy fandom has ever been? Have we reached the level of tums and anger, the likes of which Cowboy fan has never seen? I think RJ has. Have you? We're going to talk about the Cowboys and reasons to be mad, and if there's anything to look forward to coming up. Ready for this? I think this is going to be fun. You're on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
94.1 San Antonio Sports Star Spring Golf Classic is set. Monday, March 25th at Golf Club of Texas. With plenty of prizes, including a shot at $50,000 in a trip to the big game. Presented by Sierra Auto Group. Go to sasportstar.com and get signed up. A 4-person scramble, $120 per player to join, or a group of 4 can sign up together for $400. Then, after your round, join the San Antonio Sports Star gang for the after party, where the Blitz will be live at 90 Proof Bar and Grill on the corner of Highway 90 and Lucky Ranch, 10 minutes from Golf Club of Texas. It's San Antonio's Spring Golf Classic, benefiting the Will Smith Foundation. Monday, March 25th, presented by Flight by Yingling and 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
The John Clay Wolf Show. Here's what's going on in the Wolf Pack.
Last week after the show, a gentleman contacted Gigi and wants her to do some voiceover work in a barbecue restaurant.
There you go.
I said, Gigi, you're not going to go meet a stranger at 2:00 at a barbecue place.
I think it's fine.
No, it's not.
He is going to feed her, and she is going to show up. I know her.
The John Clay Wolf Show, every Saturday morning.
Catch the John Clay Wolf Show, Saturdays from 9 a.m. to noon, right here on San Antonio Sports Star.
Injuries happen, and when they do, skip the ER and get to the Ortho Now Injury Clinic by TSAOG Orthopedics and Spine. Ortho Now provides walk-in care for injuries like broken bones, dislocation, sprains, and strains. Conveniently located in the Corey area with extended hours Monday through Saturday with on-site x-ray casting and bracing, Ortho Now has everything you need to treat your injury, and best of all, no urgent care or emergency room copay. Learn more online at tsaog.com.
In business, service is everything. Cintas delivers what you need to better serve your customers. Whether it's freshly laundered work apparel for almost any job imaginable, tested and inspected fire protection systems, first aid and safety supplies, on-site AED training, or mops and restroom products, stocked and ready when you need them. Better work days happen together. So visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
There's something that binds us all. The constant hunger to improve. The obsession with every detail. And the reward of a custom fitting, taking your game to a whole new level. We're all bound by 2 words, said by golfers worldwide. Schedule your fitting at Edwin Watts Golf Shops. Find your local store at worldwidegolf.com. Get there.
Over the past decade, the Roo Pub has proven to be the best place to watch games with those 3 massive 170-inch screens and TVs all around. All the games, all the UFC fights, and when you show up at the Roo Pub, show up hungry. The food is fantastic. Open daily at 11. Great for lunch, great for dinner, great for late at night, and certainly the best place to watch a game. The Roo Pub is next to the Angry Elephant and in the same plaza as the Big Blind. There at 281 in Redland Road. We'll see you at the Roo.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With Venture X, earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy and turn everyday purchases into extraordinary trips. Plus, receive premium travel benefits like access to over 1,300 airport lounges where you just check in and chill out. Open up a world of possibilities with Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
She posted about us just now.
Celebrities can't get enough of Beyond's bespoke skincare line.
She has 147 million followers. How do we monetize?
She needs a social media associate to help her with the hype.
We should repost this. Do we need a hashtag?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
This is Jim Rome. Join me weekdays at noon on my new home, 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Gather round the morning huddle. He's RJ. I'm Rob. We're glad you're with us this morning. So the season, the new season year hasn't begun for a week, but it began in earnest yesterday. We saw franchise tags offered. We heard from Dak on Monday. And I think that the sum total of where we have arrived as the new league year starts 3:00 Monday. Is that what you said, RJ?
The new league year officially begins a week from today.
So we got one more week.
But legal tampering opens on Monday.
I don't know how to parse where we're starting this season, because while the anger is palpable for Cowboy fan, I mean it's everywhere I go. People are mad. They're mad at Jerry. They're mad at Dak. They're mad at everybody. The culture is under question. Dak says he's offended. He feels attacked when you start talking about culture. But it's there. In your experience as a Cowboy fan, and you're tried and true, you've been around long enough to see this. You ever seen it like this? Ever seen the anger level reach a pitch where around over the bend? You'd always felt like Jerry was going to do something, but doesn't feel like it's coming.
My 2 cents on this is reading the fan base is that they are more upset than they have ever been in. I think you have to break Cowboys history now up into 2 timelines or 2 points in there's an inflection point. And it's, the dynasty days, the glory days, America's team, not that they're not America's team, not to go down that road, and the drought. And the drought really begins almost around the turn of the century, because you've got the end of the 90s.
Chan Gailey years, Campo.
Right.
It was desperate and awful.
Call it the century, which effectively is the drought. And this is the most upset they've been in the drought era. This was the worst playoff loss in the drought era. That's the way people feel. And I think that they are 100% correct. I feel that way because they have lost and lost and lost and lost and done so in embarrassing fashion and embarrassing fashion and embarrassing fashion. And this past season, they rope-a-doped us. They said, believe in us, quite literally, Mike McCarthy, after the fact in a super pathetic way. So they challenged us to believe in them. They had a home field advantage. They had a defensive player set a ridiculous record with all the picks. I mean, we can list all the accolades and everything. And they had us believe this is finally the year that we're at least – we had lowered the bar so much that we had said, all you have to do is reach the NFC Championship game, and future children will sing songs of your name. And not only did they not do that, they lost in the first round. They lost to a 7 seed, the first team in NFL history to ever do that. And they didn't just lose. It's not like we're sitting here and they lost on the last second field goal to the Green Bay Packers or whatever. They got whooped. I mean, to use the great parlance of Greg Popovich very recently, it was a royal ass whooping that they got. And they deserve all this. They made this bed And now they do not have the right to come and whine and cry about it. This is the most pissed off the Dallas Cowboys fans have been in the drought, and they have every reason to feel that way.
Oh, RJ, it'll happen again. And it's happened before. I'll tell you this. I think there's a fair amount of anger, yes. But I think the anger is because at least this team is got some talent. Back in those years that the dark ages, when we had Dave Campo on the sidelines, who always looked like he'd lost his keys. On the sidelines, he looked like he couldn't find his keys, and he's asking, like, what's the play? Anybody see my keys? He's that guy. Then there was the Chan Gailey and Quincy Carter years, where not only were we awful, we had no hope. I mean, back then, at least now this team wins 12 games a year. You got a little bit of hope. Back then, the anger was, there ain't any kind of future. We didn't expect wins. So I think it's been worse because back then there was no hope. This year, or at least over the last couple, at least there's some hope. Now it's been dashed and stomped and cracked and thrown around and beaten and burned and everything else. But at least there's a little bit of that. I've lived through some times where there was no hope.
But hope is a really dangerous thing. Right?
That's the problem, and that's why this feels worse.
Well, it is worse though, because
no,
you're good
it's
enough.
not.
It is worse because, and even then, the context of those moments were so recently removed from the glory days that you kind of had no right. You know what I mean? You kind of had no right to complain about how bad you had it as a Dallas Cowboys fan. Whereas
we
now,
went from Jerry and Jimmy to Jerry and Chan.
I know, but now if you're a Cowboys fan. And people use different age markers. If you're a Cowboys fan south of 45, you're mostly too young to have really enjoyed the run of the 90s. But you're old enough to where you've had to put up with for most of your life at this point in time, not only utter failure, but all the things that accompany being a Dallas Cowboys fan. Because you have people in your life, whoever you are, that roast you and drag you for your team failing miserably in the playoffs year after year after year after year. So you've had to pay for all the sins and you've got none of the promises. You know what I'm saying? It's a really kind of miserable existence. So hope is a dangerous thing. And that's what's really, really frustrating about this particular point in time, especially this past season. There was so much hope. There was nothing but hope, but there was objective reason to be hopeful. And they blew it.
Right.
They didn't. And so, but I think when you pair that with where we're at now, in that they're dragging their feet on the most important decisions they have to make, that they've openly said that they don't plan on being active in free agency, you already know that they have reached a glass ceiling and they have no intention of saying, let's try to smash through this. Let's go where Charlie and Grandpa Joe couldn't. No, they're like, we better start burping. Let's get down back to the ground. We're not comfortable rising and rising and rising. So we've already, it feels like, seen the peak that a team that wasn't good enough, already achieved. And that's a really depressing reality to have sink in, is that we now know it's no longer hope. We now know that it is false and not good enough and can't be taken where we need it to.
No, it's time to write our obituary. There's a story that's legend that talks about in Vietnam. And this is what I'm going to sound old again. There was a story about the Tet Offensive had happened and things looked bad in Vietnam. And the commanding general there in Vietnam gathered all his upper echelon military commanders and said, all right, things are about to change. I want everybody right now to sit down and I want you to write your obituary, because the next couple of weeks are going to be this is what's coming. So go ahead and write it. And the brass walked out going, well, once we wrote the end, we knew what the story was. There was no longer any fear. Cowboy fan, write the obituary. This is over. This year it's done. Your defensive coordinator, the brand new one's only got a 1-year deal. Your quarterback, as it stands right now, a week out from the end of the league year, when it would behoove everybody, him and the team, to sign some kind of deal to help out what's about to come. There's no contract coming. The quarterback is going to be dangling for the next couple of days, and we know how they've handled that. So expect that to get screwed up somehow. They're gonna screw it up, even if it works out better in the long run. However it goes, the initial part's going to be screwed up. So Cowboy fan, get it. It's over.
Do you remember the movie Deep Impact?
It's over, ladies and gentlemen.
I believe that's when it's kind of an Armageddon thing.
I'm gonna say it kind of got swept under the Armageddon run, and certainly does in pop culture history. everybody remembers Armageddon as like the meteor's going to crash into the Earth movie. Deep Impact came out like in parallel, and it was a really good movie. Who's the dude that plays Frodo? Elijah Wood.
Yeah,
he's in it. Whatever. So NASA sends a team of actual astronauts to space to help with the meteor that's on its way. And while they're out there, they realize, well, we're screwed. The meteor is going to crash into Earth. But they realize if we crash into it, we can break it up and we can mitigate the damage. And there's a scene in the movie where and I hope I'm not spoiling something that's like 25 years old.
Don't worry. Both people are going, Elijah Wood? Who?
But the captain, she says something like, because you can see everyone realizing what they have to do, right? Like they have to crash into the meteor and crash their ship.
Right.
And she just looks around, and this is it's not a cool line, but I've always remembered this. She says, well, at least we'll all have high schools named after us. and that's exactly where the Cowboys are at right now. You know, like it's like, man, like all you guys are doing right now is giving us some sort of memories to look fondly back on. And but that's why that is the mentality, the disposition that we're describing. This is the first time that people have checked into this hotel in March. All right. It normally takes the beating of the season to, sort of be weakened enough, to admit that to yourself. But everybody is so out on this team, dejected, angry, pissed off, however you want to term it, however you want to deem it. And they have every right to be, because as you mentioned, the Cowboys have not only laid their cards out on the table, they've flashed a neon sign that said, look at our cards.
Yeah.
All right, we're going home after this. And so why does anyone have any reason to invest themselves emotionally?
Because the expectation of what's coming next.
Cool.
Revel in the end. Glory in the end. I mean, let's have some fun, because we're all going down. We're headed for the border, man. We're going down in style. I mean, this is what's happening. Accept it. Accept the fact that this thing is going to explode.
What would be the mascot of Rob Thompson High School?
Of my high school? The Chupacabras. I always felt like, I mean, if I opened a new high school in South Texas and you don't choose Chupacabra,
that's what I'm saying. If you were on the ship and they named the high school the Rob Thompson
Donkey Ladies, something
close.
THS.
Where do you go? I go to Thompson. Yeah,
I go to Thompson High. Actually, there's several across the country, and I've seen guys. In my years, I've seen people wearing like Thompson High. I'm like, that's cool.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's an Ochoa High someplace.
Maybe. Well, I'm always chasing the Ochoa High. You know what I mean? So
that's the Griselda part of the lineage.
Exactly.
Hey, what are your thoughts on this? Are you as mad as you've ever been? Let us know. There's lots of ways to do that. Put it on the scrolls so it'll live forever. Yeah, Rob Thompson needs a statue down at South Sand, because let's celebrate mediocrity. That's really what we're chasing out here. That's why I'm a Cowboy fan. Hey, we do want to hear from you. Are you as mad as you've ever been? I think for those of us of my age, we're a little jaded because we've been down this road before, but I think RJ has a point. There's no reason why we should be here, and that's why it's so infuriating. As the Cowboys did not franchise anybody, other teams did, and some expectations weren't met, and some dudes got paid. Dalton Schultz, one that we're going to talk about looking around the corner. And running backs, if you want one, they're going to be available, and available cheap. Tony Pollard isn't going to get paid, and no others will. Let's get there next. You are on the Morning Huddle, and this is 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
If you miss the Blitz with Jason and Joe, then you miss this.
John Machota from The Athletic.
You know, John, it looked like the Cowboys, most of the people they were talking to were either defensive linemen or linebackers. Is that where you think their biggest focus is going to be in this draft?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Stephen Jones was here for those workouts, so I thought that was interesting. As I sit here right now, I would say a defensive line, linebacker, offensive line. That seems like where there's the most interest. I'd throw running back in there as well.
Right home with the Blitz. Afternoons 2 to 6 on 94.1 San Antonio Sports.
Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up spills quicker, and each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less than the leading ordinary brand. So you can get back to your night. Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
When something happens to your car, you might say,
My car.
but what you really need to say is something that can actually help.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
And just like that, State Farm is there to help you file your claim right on the State Farm mobile app. So just remember, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
State Farm, Bloomington, Illinois.
Hi, I'm Henry Winkler. My eyes are very important to me. My eyes connect me with everything I love. I loved my late father-in-law dearly. He always lit up a room, but his vision dimmed with age. He had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. And since partnering with Apellis, I've learned there's an advanced form of dry AMD called geographic atrophy, or GA. His struggle with vision loss made me want to help others know about GA's warning signs. For some, colors appear dull or washed out. For others, hazy or blurred vision make it hard to see details, like fine print on price tags. Many have trouble seeing in the dark, making driving at night difficult. GA gets worse over time and cannot be reversed. If you think you have GA, don't wait. Treatments are available. Ask a retina specialist about FDA-approved treatments for GA and go to GAWon'tWait.com.
Hey, poker players, the Big Blind is open. With a true Vegas feel, the Big Blind is the premier poker room in San Antonio, featuring an upscale environment catering to players from all abilities. Whether you are seeking high-octane tournaments or lively cash games, the Big Blind has a game for everyone. The Big Blind at 281 in Redland Road, just down from the Rue Pub, offers daily cash games to daily, weekly, and monthly tournaments. Learn more online at thebigblindsa.com. The Big Blind at 281 in Redland Road.
If you can't sleep because of annoying knee pain, that's a problem. If you stop running because your feet always hurt, that's a problem. If your elbow, shoulder, and neck pain make it impossible for you to do your job, that is a problem, and it's time to finally do something about it. I'm Dr. Jason Garrett from Arasti. At Arasti, we fix pain fast. No medications, no injections. Arasti treatment is completely natural and non-invasive. Plus, we accept most insurance plans. There's a location near you. Visit Arasti.com. That's AIRROSTI.com. Arasti, we fix pain fast.
If you've been thinking about buying a new car or pre-owned car, truck, or SUV, think Ancira.com. Browse through thousands of new and pre-owned cars, trucks, SUVs, and RVs. Shop for your next new Chevrolet, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Ford, Buick, or GMC. Or if you're looking for an import, we have a huge selection of Kias, VWs, and Nissans. Or for your home away from home, a full line of RVs and campers. And you'll always get the lowest Ancira price, in-store or online at Ancira.com.
Policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out. Go to nomoredraftywindows.com for full offer details.
Attention all homeowners. Do you know when to replace your windows? Feeling too hot or cold? It's time to replace. Fog between the glass? Time to replace. Spending too much on expensive energy that literally goes out the window? It's definitely time to replace. If you've put off replacing windows in your home because it's too expensive, here's great news. You can now get a free in-home window consultation and free price quote from Renewal by Andersen, the company with the most 5-star reviews among leading full-service window replacement companies. And right now, you can save $359 off every window and $887 off every door. Just text ENERGY to 200-300 for your free consultation on top-quality affordable windows or patio doors for no dollars down, no payments, and no interest for a year. That's right. You don't pay a dime for an entire year. Plus, save $359 off every window and $887 off every door. But hurry, these big dollar savings end this month. Text ENERGY to 200-300 right now. Text the word ENERGY to 200-300. Don't wait. Text ENERGY to 200-300.
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early so everyone can go home on time, there's Grainger, offering professional-grade supplies backed by product experts so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on access to a committed team ready to go the extra mile for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
To thank you for 40 unforgettable years, Dell Technologies is celebrating with anniversary savings on their most popular tech. For a limited time only, save on select next-gen PCs like the XPS 13 Plus, powered by Intel Core processors and more. Plus, curate your dream setup with great deals on select monitors, mice, and more must-have electronics and accessories. When you shop online at Dell.com/deals, you'll have access to leading-edge technology and free shipping on everything. Again, that's Dell.com/deals.
This is Andrew Monaco, and you're listening to the home of the Aggies, 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Huddle up! This is TMH, although we're branding it the Morning Huddle. He is RJ Ochoa, the Blogging the Boys managing editor. I like the shirt. I mentioned it earlier. Look good today. Everybody go check it out.
Shout out Bill Murray.
Yeah.
No free ads, but shout
out Bill Murray, just in general.
Yeah, exactly. I've never seen Groundhog Day, but shout out Bill Murray.
You know, as we look at each other in our short sleeve shirts, 91 degrees here yesterday. We ready for this?
No,
that's frightening.
I'm not saying that it's the dead of winter, but I thought a couple more cold fronts before we fully adapted to this place.
I'll tell you what, man. Although it's supposed to cool off a little bit tomorrow, it was hot. I was walking the dog yesterday. I'll tell you, one of the great things in life is the smell of a mountain laurel. It only lasts for about a week. Get outside, go find a trail and smell some of that, man. Nothing like the smell of grape Kool-Aid in the air. You have any mountain laurels around your house?
I don't.
See, that's another sure sign.
But I felt like I did with your picture.
Well, that's right. I forgot. My wife was making fun of me about it yesterday. She goes, "How old are you?" Well, there are certain signposts with age. When you hit 50, you have to own at least 3 different colored Columbia fishing shirts. That's part of it. And then when you hit 56, you start taking pictures of flowers. I don't know what happens.
Congratulations on your newfound benchmark.
I want to find somebody that loves me as much as RJ Ochoa loves Dalton Schultz.
He is super underrated, man. He is one of the best tight ends in the NFL, and nobody wants to give him his due. There were so many Cowboys fans who were upset with the way last season ended. They felt like, what a loser. And I don't think he was worth paying because he was coming off the franchise tag at the time. And it was a business decision that the Cowboys made. And he bet on himself, Dalton did. And I think he deserves a lot of credit for that. He took a 1-year, I believe it was $9.1 million deal with the Texans, and was a big reason, not taking anything away from CJ Stroud, but a big reason why that offense flourished. He presented a legitimate pass catching option, and everybody made it seem like his success with, in Dallas was only as a result of Dak Prescott, when he had a lot of success with Andy Dalton in that 2020 season. And so people forget Dalton Schultz was drafted. Remember when Jason Witten retired like 5 minutes before the 2018 NFL draft? That was Dalton Schultz's draft class. I mean, he was, people thought he was going to be the next Jason Witten. He is one of the most consistent tight ends in the NFL. He's not Travis Kelce. He's not George Kittle. That's why this all worked out for Dallas as well. But he is a top 5 tight end in the NFL. And if you disagree, you're wrong.
I don't disagree at all. I think this is a great era of tight endom. The ideal offense features these athletic tight ends that always have been periphery in the league because they weren't capable of doing 2 things. But now that, pass catching is more important than edge blocking, and by the way that the pay structure is set, this is an ideal time to be a tight end. I think there's been a lot of guys that have been as talented as Dalton over the years, but haven't had the opportunity because, quite frankly, they just couldn't block. But now you don't have to.
He does that dirty work, though. That was like his thing early on, too, was that he wasn't a great blocker. He was only a weapon in the passing game. And then it became the opposite. But he is a really well-rounded tight end. He's a little bit quick on the trigger to block people on Twitter. I'll give him that. I mean, if I have to offer some sort of criticism, I'm not blocked by a ton of Cowboys players or former Cowboys, but I am on his list. I've never tweeted anything disparaging.
I don't think so. You're one of his great defenders. I don't think it helped that guys kind of stepped in and were doing the same thing after he left for the Cowboys. But that doesn't take away from his skill. And I find it interesting that he got a good deal, $12 million, 3-year deal, well earned. Nobody's mad at that. But you got running backs like Tony Pollard, who, expected to hang around the $12 million area. Cowboys, we knew weren't going to franchise him. Well, no, not that. But I think 3 years ago, the assumption was the running back market would hang around the $10 to $20 million range just because that was the value that put on by most franchises. That's not the case. That has been supplanted by the tight end. I find that just utterly amazing. The value of young running backs is just fallen through our older, experienced dudes has fallen through the floor.
There like $12 billion a year is a lot. I'm not trying to say like what a loser that he's only making $12 million a year, but there are more than 10 tight ends who make that in the NFL. Like this is like average money in the NFL for a tight end. That's why this is a great deal for the Texans. These are all the tight ends who make at least $12 million per year actively, according to Over the Cap. Hunter Henry, Schultz is better. Cole Kmet, Schultz is better. Dawson Knox, Schultz is better. David Njoku, maybe. Evan Ingram, kind of a push, but I'd take Schultz. Mark Andrews, when healthy, definitely better. Dallas Goedert, kind of a push. I'd probably take Goddard. Kelsey, Kittle, Hawkinson, all better than Dalton Schultz. No shame in that. And Darren Waller's making $17 million a year, who thought about retiring recently.
Darren Waller can't catch a cold.
This is a great investment for the Texans. I mean, so they're paying, I don't want to say pennies on the dollar, but it's a really, really team-friendly deal. And they keep a pass-catching option around, one that CJ Stroud is highly comfortable with. And it is proof that the Texans are taking advantage of the rookie quarterback contract window that they have with the aforementioned CJ Stroud.
But in the grand scheme of things, when you tell me
you hate Dalton Schultz, wow.
No, it's not Dalton Schultz. I appreciate where we are in history, but now is it not the best time ever to be a tight end?
It's the best time ever to be a pass-catching option, a good one. CeeDee Lamb's probably going to make $30 million per year. So is Justin Jefferson. So is Jamar Chase. Like, the quickest way to the end zone is through the air. And if you can help in that capacity, you can get paid in the NFL. So your advocation for running backs whose work is done on the ground,
not necessarily.
It's mostly done on the ground. You know what I'm saying? At least in Saquon's case. And that's not to say that they're not, capable of helping through the air. But even then, in a general sense, if you're asking your running back to help you through the air, they're starting significantly further behind. They're actually starting mostly behind the line of scrimmage, as opposed to Dalton Schultz, who's starting in that capacity 10, 12 yards down the field. So it's just welcome to modern times. I mean, what you're saying is like, look, this whole internet thing, I don't buy it. I mean, I'm not convinced.
That's not what I'm saying. But I will tell you this, that everything is cyclical. Things that have worked before will eventually work
that
again.
About the running back position.
It will be back. It will be back.
You're marrying the running back and the running game, and those are different things. All right, the running game is absolutely a weapon that is worth using and strengthening in the NFL. But you can do so and do it with cheap labor.
See, RJ, this is where you get lost, and this is the fantasy football era taking its toll.
What, you're the one obsessed with Saquon.
Is never going to outweigh quality. You can have three good; it'll never outdo one great. And
the Chiefs Niners with Isaiah Pacheco and Jared McKinnon.
This is the sign of the time. And I'm just saying,
Niners
you're right.
Christian
today.
McCaffrey.
You're right today. And McCaffrey, you are. In the era of the way that football is being played today, you're correct. But by the same token, 5 years ago, when you go, what do quarterbacks look like? You go, well, the quarterbacks look like they're about 6'4". They can throw the ball flat-footed 75 yards, and they're going to pick up about 12 yards a year running the ball. They're going to get sacked so much more losing yards than any 1 yard plunges are ever going to get them. The quarterback is a throwing entity. That's what it was before. That's not what it is now. And with running backs, that's what it was before. That's not what it is now, but it'll be back. It'll be back. But when I see this and I see extraordinary talent just standing and being, $8 million for a talent that I know is capable, if used right, of getting you places just like a quarterback can, it's going to change. Somebody's going to take advantage of this.
No,
somebody
that
will
would be
benefit
the opposite of
immensely.
taking advantage. Paying big money would be the
somebody's
opposite
going to
of
walk
taking
in
advantage.
and pay a back, whether it's Taylor eventually when he gets healthy or Saquon, guys that we know, when the circumstances are right, are better than anybody else on the field, not only at that position, but in skill. game makers, they make a difference. And we're letting this valued commodity just kind of slip through. That's great, but somebody out there is going to realize it.
You think way too highly of people like Saquon, because if you're truly in a spirit of achieving value, the value is players like that. Let somebody else fall on that sword of overpaying. The value is your Austin Eckler, your Derrick Henry, your Tony Pollard. Pick one and paying them $6 million per year. You have to pay attention to the financial side of the NFL. There will always be exceptions.
Yes,
and it's worth, like, this is a potentially silly argument, because Saquon might wind up being Schultz's teammate. I mean, because the Texans are in a position to spend that money, but there will not be a return of the running back king getting paid all sorts of money in the NFL. It is a devalued individual position.
Today,
it is still a valued core element of a football offensive philosophy from a team standpoint, as evidenced by the most successful teams in the NFL.
I believe as we go that when you look at teams and you look at talent and how it's used on football fields and the positions that can truly, if you change just that position, can make a difference. Running backs in the top 4. That if you find the right guy, I'm telling you, when you find the number one guy, when you find it, it is worth it. Now, it only happens, period, and we can find 1 or 2 every year. That when you find the right guy in the right place, there are very few positions that if you find the right one, that right guy, it's worth 3 games. It's worth 4 games because you can do something different. It's not even worth
1 game.
Oh, but we can look at it year after year. There's a reason why San Francisco traded for McCaffrey. There's a reason why Jonathan Taylor got paid, because that year before he got it right. Now you got to manage your salary cap, but when there are
the
running
reason
backs
that they got paid is because
positions.
they're on teams that have quarterbacks on cheap rookie contracts.
Well,
but when
there's lots of pieces to this, yes.
When it comes time to pay serious money, nobody pays it to the running back position.
Not now.
Right now, San Francisco and Indianapolis. Yeah, let's screw around. You want some money? Cool. We got cash to burn. Come on in. We'll give you whatever you want. But the moment they have to hand out big time for real adult quarterback money, it's like, oh, yeah, that cute little running back phase we had. Yeah, that was just, that was like My Chemical Romance back when we were 14. It wasn't a real thing.
And My Chemical Romance will be back in about 15 years. It won't be the same name, but the music will sound exactly alike. It's going to be back. You just want to be the general manager who sees the trend, the coach
it's not
who
a trend.
Understands the It is always a trend, young fella.
No.
That's the problem with young fellas, is you haven't seen enough trends come and go to know that it's just a trend.
It's a coincidence. It's not a trend. It's a lining up of particular variables for a brief moment in time where sometimes if a running back is kind of worth it, you can overpay. But given that it is by definition an overpay, it is by definition an inefficient way of building your football team. That's the point at hand.
I lost you, RJ. You still there?
I'm here.
There you are. I'm sorry.
Here.
We went blank. Hey, we got a whole lot.
You were listening to My Chemical.
Was Edwin telling me that he is very upset that we have blown through a break. So let's come back. I want to continue with this because I do think we're on a kind of this. We're not there yet with this flux point because I think the running back position is going to be even more devalued over the next couple of years. But they will be back, and somebody will find it. In the meantime, free agency has affected other teams. Where's Fields going to go? What's Pittsburgh going to do? And it looking more and more likely that the Vikings might be saying goodbye to their quarterback. We're talking more free agency. And silver and black, the Spurs got a royal ass whooping last night. That'll happen just after 7. You're on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
94.1 San Antonio Sports Star Spring Golf Classic is set. Monday, March 25th at Golf Club of Texas. With plenty of prizes, including a shot at $50,000 in a trip to the big game. Presented by Sierra Auto Group. Go to sasportstar.com and get signed up. A 4-person scramble, $120 per player to join, or a group of 4 can sign up together for $400. Then, after your round, join the San Antonio Sports Star gang for the after party, where the Blitz will be live at 90 Proof Bar and Grill on the corner of Highway 90 and Lucky Ranch, 10 minutes from Golf Club of Texas. It's San Antonio's Spring Golf Classic, benefiting the Will Smith Foundation. Monday, March 25th, presented by Flight by Yingling and 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
Nigel, what's up with your hair? Joel, prices are insane these days. I'm cutting my own hair.
Folks, nobody likes paying high prices. Good news, for a limited time, all quarter moon 14-seer AC systems up to 3 tons are installed in your house for only $69.99. Now is the ideal time to take care of your home at the lowest price of the year.
Joel, I like saving money. I'm an influencer. Everywhere I go, people hand me change and say, bless your heart.
Quarter Moon Plumbing, Heat, and AC. 210-651-5899. License number M16004. DACLA 000743445.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9313. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9313. That's 800-575-9313. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Do you have unfiled tax returns or being threatened by the IRS that your wages are about to be garnished or bank accounts are going to be levied? You need an ally. Allies Tax Relief has professionals ready to fight for you. Their enrolled agents, tax attorneys, and CPAs have saved millions of dollars for taxpayers just like you. They won't just resolve your tax problems. They'll most importantly protect your wages, bank accounts, and all your assets from being taken by the IRS. Call for a free consultation. 800-230-5174. 800-230-5174 or go to alliestaxrelief.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. hims.com/joy.
If you've been thinking about buying a new car or pre-owned car, truck, or SUV, think Ansira.com. Browse through thousands of new and pre-owned cars, trucks, SUVs, and RVs. Shop for your next new Chevrolet, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Ford, Buick, or GMC. Or if you're looking for an import, we have a huge selection of Kias, VWs, and Nissans. Or for your home away from home, a full line of RVs and campers. And you'll always get the lowest Ansira price, in-store or online at Ansira.com.
When you wake up well-rested on a great mattress, everything becomes clear.
Wow, I'm a morning person.
Things you missed when you were tired finally reveal themselves.
I should not use a chatbot to write my wedding vows.
This is your official invite to Mattress Firm's Friends and Family Sale. Save up to $700 with the Friends and Family discount. Plus, get a free adjustable base with select Sealy mattresses. See a lower price? We'll match it. The right mattress matters. We'll find yours. Restrictions apply. See store website for details.
I feel good.
Dad, are you singing to your cereal?
Yes, I am. Like I knew that I would.
No, a dance too?
Come on, Ava. Silk almond milk starts the morning on a high note. Yow!
Songs, dances, and dad jokes.
So good. So good. I got you.
Silk almond milk.
With calcium, vitamins A, D, and E.
Feel plenty good.
This is Andrew Monaco, and the Aggies play here. 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
Hey, it's the Morning Huddle. We're glad you're with us. He's RJ. I'm Rob. Thanks for joining us today. I've got Tom Segura tickets that I am going to give away in about an hour or so, hour and a half. We're going to give them away about 8:30. I'm thoroughly enjoying this topic, RJ. I'm thoroughly enjoying the behind the scenes look at the running back position because it's just so interesting. I was just looking up on the 4-letter network, and they listed the running backs that are available via free agency, from Derrick Henry to Austin Eckler to Saquon Barkley to Austin Eckler to Raider as well, Jacobs. That is supreme talent available on the cheap. And then I want you to think about this for a second. For $20 million today, for $20 million, less than that, for $18 million, and I'm stretching that, I could probably get it for 15 if I really drove a bargain. I could have both. I could go get me a Derrick Henry and a Saquon or an Austin Eckler. I could have them both.
You don't need them both.
Well, the reason I say I could have them both is because I'm rich and I want stuff. But secondly, one of the problems when you go invest in these running backs is they always get hurt. But if I can get two of them for the cost of what Saquon would have been just 3 years ago, somebody out there's got to be calling his owner going, hey, man, I got a plan. Hey, man.
Saquon, I don't know what this obsession with Saquon
because I'll tell you, it's not just Saquon, because there's only a couple of positions on a football field that can genuinely make a difference on their own. And running back to this day, even though the valuation is there, is still one of them. Yes.
No.
One
it's
turn, one run.
Position in the NFL. The most dependent.
For the average,
on
but for the great, they make a difference. And there's a couple of them that have proven they can.
Wrong.
Right. We'll continue it. What do you think? Get on the scroll.
You're the weakest link.
Tip it. Get on the morning one. Hey, this is 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. More to come. Ass whooping.
When you think San Antonio sports, think 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. Your home for the Cowboys. KTFM Floresville and SASportsStar.com.
I lock up my Old Spice Fiji aluminum-free dry spray to keep that 24/7 lasting freshness safe for myself. Fresh coconuts, palm trees in the wind. It's like catching waves in Fiji. Actually, I just talked myself into a refreshing spritz of Fiji. My Old Spice is missing! No!
At Progressive, we know money can't buy you happiness, but money did help you buy an RV, which means an excuse from working Saturday with your insufferable coworker, Dave. So money is helping you listen to birds chirp instead of Dave chirping about how his toddler is fluent in 3 languages. And it's also why you'll be smelling pine trees in the air, not Dave's tuna melt reheating in a microwave. So save money by bundling your RV or boat insurance with home or auto from Progressive and buy more happiness, or something close to it. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
My kids call me Tom. So unnerving. Every day, the older one's like, how you doing, Tom? I go, hey, I'm not your fucking stepdad, all right? I wish I was. It'd be a lot easier, but I'm not.
From his multiple Netflix specials, comedian Tom Segura brings his new tour, Come Together, to Frost Bank Center Friday, March 8th. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Don't miss Tom Segura, Come Together.
What's holding you back from learning the language you've always wanted to know?
Too hard. Takes too long.
Not with Babbel. Babbel's lessons take just 15 minutes a day.
15 minutes isn't long.
Nope. And they're fun. So you don't realize you're learning a language, but you are. In 3 weeks, you're able to start having conversations. And Babbel's lessons are built around real life.
And with Babbel, it isn't hard. It's perfect.
Now try Babbel free. Just go to Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com.
Something bad has happened to Mom.
Streaming March 14th on Peacock.
Joy Delaney, mother of 4, has gone missing.
From the author of Big Little Lies and 9 Perfect Strangers.
She will come back.
You think we're this, big, happy family?
I have a confession.
Starring Oscar nominee Annette Bening, Sam Neill, Jake Lacey, and Allison Brie.
Secrets will poison any family, and what you don't know can hurt you.
Apples never fall. Streaming March 14th, only on Peacock.
Not to brag, but Progressive's Name Your Price tool is mankind's greatest tool ever.
Even better than the wheel. Sure, without the wheel, we wouldn't have modern transportation or funny videos of dogs riding skateboards. But without the Name Your Price tool, we wouldn't have easy access to auto insurance options based on our budget. And, well, cars do need wheels. They also need insurance, and insurance never goes flat. Learn more about the greatest tool ever, the Name Your Price tool at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Gabby.
Hey, Gabby. It's Jennifer Coolidge. Hi. I'm so glad I reached you at 2 a.m.
Oh, of course. Anyone with a Discover card can call and talk to a real person 24/7. Now, how can I help?
Yeah, I used my Discover card to buy these yellow pleather pajamas, and I'm just not sure I'm pulling them off.
24/7 U.S.-based customer service. It pays to Discover. Limitations apply. Learn more at discover.com/credit card.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
This is the time of year to enjoy life. Stop letting that pain in your joints keep you from doing what you want this spring. Call QC Kinetics now. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. I'm talking about lasting joint pain relief with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. It's a fact. QC Kinetics is literally transforming lives. Their advanced treatments harness your body's own natural ability to restore and repair damaged joint tissue. Pro athletes have been doing this for decades, but now this life-changing treatment is available for you. So you can walk, run, climb stairs, play golf, and move again, pain-free. No pills, no risky surgery. QC Kinetics has tens of thousands of satisfied patients who have reclaimed their mobility. So take action now. It's a great use of your tax refund check, by the way. Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation. 210-571-0318. 210-571-0318. That's 210-571-0318. Locations in Hollywood Park, Westover Hills, and New Braunfels.
94.1 FM. San Antonio's Sports Center.
In the NBA, the San Antonio Spurs couldn't make it 3 in a row as they fell to the Houston Rockets 114-101. The uninspired Spurs were led by Devin Vassell's 22 points. Victor had 10 points, 11 rebounds, and 7 blocks. In the NFL, the Dallas Cowboys exercised the fifth-year option on Micah Parsons, but as a defensive end rather than linebacker.
Wembanyama three. Goes behind the back here. Oh, little sidestep and a jam by Wembanyama. Oh, it's not the way you play, Wembanyama.
This is the Morning Huddle on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star with Rob Thompson and the managing editor of Blogging the Boys, RJ Ochoa. Now, here's Rob and RJ.
Gather around. We got something to talk about. It's the Morning Huddle. He's RJ Ochoa. I'm Rob Thompson. RJ, also the managing editor of Blogging the Boys. Hey, we do it every day at 7 o'clock. We're glad you're here for Talking Silver and Black. Make sure you're subscribed to this portion of the show. Make sure you're liking it on a regular basis and watching us live. We take great pain in our appearance. Something I didn't think we'd have to as radio guys, but here we sit. So make sure you're subscribed, watching us there live on the YouTube channel. Alperen Sengun's his name. Scored 45 points last night. Had 16 rebounds and 5 steals against our young, soon-to-be defensive player of the year runner-up, or maybe not even voted for, according to Draymond. But really, we saw the Houston Rockets do to Wemby what will be the prescriptive method to beat Wemby for the rest of his career. Beat him up.
Wemby's going to see Alpi over his shoulder all day today. I mean, this was Alpi's got some free rent in Wemby's mind as a result of last night. This was the worst game that Wemby's ever played as a professional.
It was.
And I know that there's not a long list there to choose from. This was not just bad. This was really bad, and that's okay. I mean, hey, it's going to happen, and you know we're kind of used to coping and finding the moral victories in all of this. But this was getting outworked, out-physicaled, outdone, out-hustled, outrun, outshot, outlucked. I mean, it everything that could go wrong went wrong. Our pets' heads were falling off all over the place.
And despite that, it was a competitive game to the end. I mean, both teams didn't play well. Alpi played better. I want to read to you a text exchange that my brother and I went through last night because
Hassan?
Hassan, I was at home, he was at home. He's going through the same thing I've gone through forever, and a lot of people are dealing with the Bally situation. He doesn't have direct access to the Spurs, so he's having to watch them through the cracked streams.
This is so silly, but I want to hear the text. But
so here we sit. So
stupid problem.
As we're getting ready for the game, my brother texts me and says, are you watching the pregame? And I said, yeah. He goes, well, I'm watching the other side. This is what they said.
You mean the Rockets broadcast?
The Rockets broadcast. That's the one he was forced to watch. And it said, this is in particular about Alperen Sengun. They call him Alpy. He's going to go through the chest of Wemby and get him in foul trouble. And then the Spurs really don't have any kind of backup. Zach Collins will fill in. I wonder how many dunks we'll have today. That was the quote pregame as the Rockets were getting ready to host the Spurs. So obviously they'd been talking to Ime Udoka, still the most frightening coach in all the NBA. And they had told him, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go beat them up. With these young guys, we're going to go get in their chest, and we're going to beat them up. And we had Alpy flexing within 2 minutes of the game. And it never got better there. Now, the Spurs, to their credit, in an ugly game, kept it moderately close and had the leads. When was the last... What's your favorite stat? The probability of win.
Probability?
Find the moment where the probability of win left the Spurs and entered the Rockets. It was in the fourth. The Spurs held pretty tight for a long time. So I'm trying to defend what I'm about to. I'm trying to defend a team that I'm about to blow up. Because
to reframe, or just to frame properly what this is, ESPN tracks the win probability of a given game at every moment in time. And something we like to do, as Rob mentioned, is look at the last time, if the Spurs lost, that they held a positive win probability. So from that point on, it dipped, and they never, by evaluation standpoint, had a chance of winning the game. What would be your guess, Rob? Last moment in the game where Spurs had a positive win probability?
8 minutes to go, 7 minutes to go. I mean, we were
nowhere close.
Not even close.
Not even kind of close. It was with 10-11 to go in the third.
Oh, in the third.
The Spurs had a 52.6% win probability, went up 55-52, and then Houston took over about 30 seconds later. Even while trailing 55-52, it became Houston with a 51.1% win probability. And while there was some jump back to middle ground across the rest of the game, it was in Houston's control from that point on.
Well, that wasn't pretty. And what did Pop? Well, we've got a little bit of Pop post game. I didn't expect him to be as mad as he was, to be honest with you. But he came out hopping mad because an uninspired performance from Victor Wembanyama was really the primary issue. There was a moment or two there where he wasn't a player. He was just a participant.
Well, so Jalen Carroll says in the Brigade Bar, Wemby is not consistently good enough for the Spurs to be a good basketball team. Spurs are as good as Wemby is. I think this is a great point because he's amazing, but he's still a rookie. I mean, he's amazing, but he's still learning so much of this. And so to put so much expectation on him is not only, not wise, but it's unfair. It's unfair to him. It's unfair to the team. And that's why we allow ourselves to get swept up in the emotion of the 5x5 and the Wemby and the WT and all this cool stuff. But proclamations like, oh, he's the definite defensive player of the year this year really did feel premature. You want to give him rookie of the year? Duh. We're all fine with this. And it was stupid to argue that he shouldn't be rookie of the year because of the success of his team. But there is a larger argument to be made in that sense relative to defensive player of the year. Draymond Green spoke about this. Well, look, again, it's fair to say that the Spurs aren't a great defensive team, so it's hard to say that Wemby is, deserving of Defensive Player of the Year in that regard.
Let's listen to Draymond, and we shall retort.
He's currently second in odds to win Defensive Player of the Year, although I can't quite agree with that because they have the 24th best defense in the league. Now, that's where you kind of get into, like, his team is not that good, they're young, blah, 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 but what he's doing is incredible. But you just can't move the line like that. Like, you're not allowed to, just because he's young and the team is bad, a guy on the 24th best defense in the league can win Defensive Player of the Year.
I think that you have an argument, Draymond. I think that does make some sense. But what's the name of the award again?
Are you being pedantic? It's Defensive Player of the Year.
Player.
But
Player.
Dude, you're supposed to elevate your team, and
I think he has. But I think they'd be the 30th worst defense without him.
If the award is made your defense better than anybody else made their defense Player of the Year, then yeah, I think Wemby wins it. But he got worked last night, dude. I mean, you killed him when he got worked.
He got worked. He did last night.
He got worked like a month and a half ago by Joel Embiid, and we chalked that up to like, well, I mean, it's Joel Embiid.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is not that. I mean, no offense to our guy Alpi here, but I mean, he got worked. But this was worse than the Embiid game. I mean, because there was a I don't want to say a level of quit in Wemby because I don't think he's the type of person to quit or type of player to quit, but this was just flat out, he's better than you. As opposed to, at least he kind of got his a little bit against Embiid. This was, again, you shouldn't base it off of last night, but you cannot be Defensive Player of the Year and then have a game like you had last night in the first week of March. It's just not possible. And that's okay. And, I think Draymond has a great point in talking about the youth. We love to use the youth as something to boost Wemby. Oh, he's already this good despite being, this early, this raw, whatever. We can't then turn around and complain about it and say, well, he's only, in his first season, so we shouldn't expect much. No, we cannot talk out of both sides of our mouth. If we're going to anoint him, if we're going to talk so high about him, if we're going to say that at some point the Defensive Player of the Year award is going to be retired in his honor, then he should not put up stinkers like he did last night in Houston.
You're not allowed to decrease consistently. But everybody has an off night. And, keep in mind, and I'm not making excuses for him because there was a moment when he got benched where it was embarrassing. There was a moment where he was out on the court and he let Jalen Green just get to the rim, a layup, and he stood and watched it. And before it even began, Pop was standing up calling a timeout because he saw his guy had given up. I will say that. But what Wemby is doing is playing defense for 4 other dudes as well. This is as bad a defensive team as I've ever seen. And the fact that we are 24th is a testament to what he's doing. And to say that he is not the most defensive player in the league, the guy that when you get the scouting report, the very first thing you look at is what he does defensively. To tell me that, well, they're only the 24th. Dude, I can't imagine what it would be like without him. They'd be giving up 150 a night. So there's that. And then he's Wemby. He's the next. He is got a giant target. Don't you know Sanguine had this game circled? We talked about it. His coach had it circled. You're going to get him tonight. This is going to be your night. You're going to go through his chest. We're going to tell the TV types that's what you're going to do because that's what you're going to do. Embiid saw the same thing. Gobert sees it. You get the A game as a rookie when you're Wemby. So he's getting the very best every night, even on a Tuesday in Houston, amongst 2 of the worst teams in the league. He was the focal point of that defense at 19. I'm going to give him a little bit of slack for a game last night where he was uninspired, and I think he's hurt. But apart from that, Draymond, you're wrong. He's flat wrong to say just because the defense team is poor that he is bad. You gave up 45 to Joel Embiid. I think that's okay. Last night, yeah, I'm mad at him. But
you killed him that day, day after.
No, he also had a triple-double himself.
But no, we're talking about a defense.
I was there. Yeah, everybody's going to give up 45 to Embiid when he decides to go get it. Nobody can stop that. Even the best defensive player in the world ain't going to stop Embiid when he's feeling it. Neither can I. I'm not going to hold last night against him, and I'm also going to say what he's also doing. He's averaging under 30 minutes a game, and he's still doing what he's doing. So Draymond, settle down just a little bit.
I think we're coddling Wemby a little bit. Just by not hold, I think you're coddling him a little because it's okay to say that he's not Defensive Player of the Year. I'm with Ryan Eagle on this. It's okay that he is not the best ever, the most perfect, the most awesome, the most whatever. And it doesn't have to be one extreme or the other. The point isn't he's trash defensively, but dude, he got worked.
He did.
He didn't just lose. He got absolutely smoked. And there's a lot of chatter in the Brigade Bar about defensive stats, about when he's on the court, when he's not. When he was on the court last night was when the Spurs were arguably at their weakest defensively. It was that poor of a game from him. And those things will happen. Nobody is at all going to act like Wemby or Embiid or Jokic or whoever are going to be A-plus game all the time. Nobody can, that's not sustainable in life and sports and whatever. But it is okay to admit that the player we love dearly might not be the like pinnacle peak version of himself quite yet. Nobody's feelings are going to be hurt. It's okay to say this, I promise.
It is okay to say it a night or two. Now, I will say if this continues, that we got an issue. Last night was his worst game as a pro, and he still almost fell ass backwards into a triple-double. His worst game as a pro. He didn't even go the free throw line. That tells you he was not in it. And it also tells you that the refs were allowing him to get worked. You're going to tell me he didn't get fouled all night? No, come on now. This is Victor Wembanyama. They're coming for him. So there was some other things at play. He wasn't in it. And the team came for him, and he was the epitome of one of the reasons that we looked down on European players for the longest time. Because those guys used to come over completely skilled. They had been practicing 12 hours a day for 18 straight years. They knew exactly how things would work on a basketball court until the games began and somebody put an elbow in their chest. And they didn't know how to react to the other stuff that's part of the American basketball game. And Wemby got Americanized last night by another Euro. He put a shoulder into him and owned him all night. Yeah, that was embarrassing. And Pop let him play 30 minutes of that. A sick player with a bad shoulder, Pop made him suffer. Put him in there for 30 minutes, and he was not a willing participant last night. So, yeah, a price was paid.
I'm way more on board with that Pop, administration effort than I am the benching of Keldon or the benching of Jeremy or Wemby included last week. Like, those things felt really hollow. This felt legitimately like baptism by fire. Yeah. This felt like throw the kid in the deep end. You're going to learn to swim. I'm very cool with that because there will be something that I think you can learn. There's instructive, constructive criticism that you can develop as a result of getting worked like that. I don't think that that's as serious when you get benched in a losing effort in Utah, no matter what. So there are positive things to take away, like Rob, that the Spurs had 24 assists as a team.
121 just around the corner. The record could fall in Sacramento. I want to finish this topic with something that has started to float up. And this is an example of, I think, why the rest of the Wendys, the Wojs, the Zach Lowe's are starting to really pay attention to the Spurs. Because last night, as we watched Alpi Sanguin, the 16th draft pick. Well, he was a pick by the Thunder in 2021 and traded to the Rockets at the 16th pick. You know who the Spurs drafted that year?
I don't want you to tell me.
Josh Primo at 12. They passed on Alperen Sanguin. Not that I would rather have Alperen than Wemby, because if we'd have gotten Alperen as Eazy-E was very quick to tell me, if they had managed to do the right thing and draft Sanguin at 12, we wouldn't have Wemby. I'll admit that. But I think it is an example of why the rest of the country is looking at the Spurs like, what's wrong with you guys? You've got Wemby and you're getting your ass kicked. And it's because your team sucks. You don't have any talent. Well, here's an example of why this 2021 draft set us back. Nothing to show for it.
Well, it's an example of why the 3 years argument that Chuck offered is silly.
Yes.
Because the 3 years argument that you need to take 3 years is presuming you make every correct decision over the course of 3 years, right? Like you don't draft a Josh Primo at some point in there and set yourself back. Now, to your point, there's a domino effect. If you take Alpi, you may find yourself in a position 2 years later where you can't take Wemby or whatever. But that's why the idea of waiting 1,000 days is silly in an overall sense. I did want to just close on this with the defensive player of the year stuff. Wemby's odds were not impacted by Tuesday night. I'm talking his literal odds. Mm-hmm. DraftKings on Tuesday morning had Rudy Gobert at -750 and Wemby with the next best odds at +750. So those have not moved, at least as of this moment in time. But on the Rudy Gobert front, I mean, if if you do look at team performance from a defensive standpoint and percentage points difference, Minnesota is second. And so it's easy to support the Rudy Gobert Defensive Player of the Year argument, whereas the Spurs are, well, they're 24th. I mean, so that's
okay. The Defensive Player of the Year or All NBA? What is more likely or most likely?
All NBA. Well, if you're talking about making a team, it's, you know what I mean? Like he'll be on a team. The specific spot is up for determination, but I think that's much more likely at this point.
I would say if I was a voter, and I'm not, I would vote in third team All NBA and first team and Rookie of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year.
I don't think I think the least deserving thing there is Defensive Player of the Year. That's not to say he won't win a million of these before it's all said and done, but he's not there right now.
Utter humiliation last night. Hey, some good news for former San Antonio Spur Patty Mills, as he was released early last week. Is now a brand new Miami Heat. It's the culture, man. It's the culture.
Good for Patty. Rooting for him. It would have been cooler if he wound up in Boston, but.
Well, yeah, that seemed like that was. I think if Boston was a little bit worse, they might have been pretty eager to get him. But
they
right
were a
now,
little bit less perfect.
Yeah. Why upset the apple cart? But with him landing there, a little bit of news. I think that will help them as they close things out. Coming on the other side, we saw this floating around, and Wemby certainly doesn't deserve a statue yet. But there's a couple of San Antonio Spurs that are waiting. Around the sporting world, what are the other athletes out there that absolutely deserve a statue? This comes off of Caitlin Clark announcing that she's leaving Iowa to go into the WNBA, and we're going to dig into that decision even further later on in the show. But shouldn't Iowa go ahead and put the statue up before she leaves campus? Can we go ahead and commission that thing? Let's look around the rest of the world. Those players that should get statues that are still playing. Let's see if we can figure out those that are getting them. And we do have some interesting Arch Manning news on the heels of him turning down the EA Sports college football money and game. There might be a reason behind that, and it might be more personal than you think. That we'll get there in just a couple of minutes. But first, coming back, athletes deserve a trophy. Get your list ready. We're talking about it. You're on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. How you feeling this morning? I hope you woke up feeling good about yourself. Looked in the mirror and put that belt on and a little bit tighter than you have before, and you charged into your day. That's someone who's activated, buttoned up, as my brother would say. If you're living a life like that, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the rest of us. The guys that woke up like me most of my life tired because I didn't get enough sleep and put on the clothes that fit. They're a little bit bigger than you'd like, but I got a bigger shirt I'll put on later. And you're going to get out, chase your caffeine and sugar and get your day started. And before you know it, you're tired and chasing more caffeine. And you're living a life that is just tired all the time and sort of go along with it. That's the life of an overweight person. That's a life of somebody who's out of shape, that's living with brain fog and body tiredness and everything that goes along with just being generally out of shape. Dr. Jacob Torres said, hey, man, you can live like that. It won't be as long. Or if you just do a couple of things and listen to me, I can change your life. And it worked. I didn't think it could. That was 8 years ago. I'm down nearly 70 pounds now, 74 today. But that kind of fluctuates a little bit. I feel better today than I have ever. I can do things now that I couldn't do 5 years ago. If you're living that life, if it's time for you to change it, I want you to call Dr. Torres because there's no better avenue for folks like us. He's helped thousands of others. Let him explain to you how he's helped me and how he will help you. Here's the number you need. Call him and talk to him. The number is 210-468-1891. Their website over at the Institute is iffhealth.com. Go there. It's a great resource. Listen to me close. You might think that you can't lose any weight, that it is a foregone conclusion that this is how you're going to spend it. That is not true. It can work. You just got to give it a little push. Torres offers. Call him today. He'll help change your life. And when he does, I want you to come thank me later.
94.1 San Antonio Sports Star Spring Golf Classic is set. Monday, March 25th at Golf Club of Texas. With plenty of prizes, including a shot at $50,000 in a trip to the big game. Presented by Sierra Auto Group. Go to sasportstar.com and get signed up. A 4-person scramble, $120 per player to join, or a group of 4 can sign up together for $400. Then, after your round, join the San Antonio Sports Star gang for the after party, where the Blitz will be live at 90 Proof Bar and Grill on the corner of Highway 90 and Lucky Ranch, 10 minutes from Golf Club of Texas. It's San Antonio's Spring Golf Classic, benefiting the Will Smith Foundation. Monday, March 25th, presented by Flight by Jerry Yingling, and 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
Hey, it's Rob Thompson here for America's #1 fantasy sports app, PrizePicks. There's over 3 million active users, and I am one of us because it is one of the easiest and most exciting ways to play daily fantasy sports because my knowledge matters. It's about more. It's about less. It's about multiplying your money up to 100 times. It is so easy to play because your knowledge matters. And as basketball season arrives, use your knowledge. Ex-players, former players, current players, you know what you're doing. Steph Curry, Anthony Davis, Caitlin Clark, Kevin Durant, you know how to play. Download PrizePicks now. Use the code ALAMO. You'll get up to $100 matching. It's PrizePicks, the #1 fantasy sports app going. I play because it's fun and easy. You should play because you can win because all you need is the knowledge to play. Download PrizePicks app. Use the code ALAMO. Get your $100 match and start playing today. It is that easy. It is fun. It is PrizePicks. Download today. Thank me later.
Have you gotten your hands on Southern Recipe small batch pork rinds at HEB yet? Southern Recipe small batch offers big, bold flavors like hot honey, spicy dill, and sea salt and cracked black pepper. Bonus, you're going to love the low-carb, high-protein crunch. Turn snack time from ordinary to extraordinary with flavorful pork rinds. Pick up your favorite flavors of Southern Recipe small batch pork rinds at HEB today.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health San Antonio will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 210-615-7777. That's 210-615-7777. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out. Minimum purchase required. Interest accrues from date of purchase, but is waived if paid within promotional period. Go to windowappointmentnow.com for full offer details.
Dan, this house is freezing. It's got to be these old windows.
The windows are fine.
It's time to text renewal by Anderson. Otherwise, I'm cranking up the thermostat.
No, our heating bill is huge.
Exactly. We need new windows.
You think so?
Our windows are over 10 years old. They're letting out the warm air and wasting money.
You're saying we could actually save money and the house would be warmer if we replaced our old windows?
Yes. And if we text now, we can save hundreds of dollars.
I'm texting renewal by Anderson.
Text outside to 200-300 right now and schedule your free consultation with Renewal by Anderson online today. Plus, text now during the 31-day March sales event and get $377 off every window and $777 off every door when you buy 4 or more units. Text outside to 200-300 for no dollars down, no payments, and no interest for a full year with Renewal by Anderson. Text the word outside to 200-300. Outside to 200-300. Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out. Go to nomoredraftywindows.com for full offer details. Attention all homeowners. Do you know when to replace your windows? Feeling too hot or cold? It's time to replace. Fog between the glass? Time to replace. Spending too much on expensive energy that literally goes out the window? It's definitely time to replace. If you've put off replacing windows in your home because it's too expensive, here's great news. You can now get a free in-home window consultation and free price quote from Renewal by Anderson, the company with the most 5-star reviews among leading full-service window replacement companies. And right now you can save $359 off every window and $887 off every door. Just text ENERGY to 200-300 for your free consultation on top quality affordable windows or patio doors for no dollars down, no payments, and no interest for a year. That's right. You don't pay a dime for an entire year. Plus save $359 off every window and $887 off every door. But hurry, these big dollar savings end this month. Text ENERGY to 200-300 right now. Text the word ENERGY to 200-300. Don't wait. Text ENERGY to 200-300.
This is Rob Thompson. I'm here with my brother, Jason, a practicing attorney in San Antonio for 30 years. Jason, what does that mean?
What it means is I've been representing people and families here in San Antonio injured in auto, truck, motorcycle collisions, serious injury, death accidents, taking those families and helping them through some of the worst times of their life. I've been practicing law in San Antonio for so long. I remember when the Cowboys were champions.
Seriously.
And a great staff that handles kind of the blocking and tackling of what it takes to represent clients. There are so many phone calls that need to be made, so many connections you have to have between insurance companies, physicians, opposing lawyers, relationships that you build over 30 years with adjusters, with insurance companies, with defense attorneys, with local judges. When I represent a client, they know that I'm lending my name, my reputation built on 30 years of experience to that client to get them justice.
It's Jason Thompson, alawyerforus.com. Call him at 210-900-0400, alawyerforus.com.
Good morning, everybody. Joe Reinigle here. Coming up on the Blitz, the Spurs were in Houston last night. They'll continue their road trip. We'll look back at last night and look forward to what's coming up. How's Wemby doing? Is he okay? Plus, the NFL rumor mill continues. We'll dive into all of that. Hey, Rob, there's a rumor going around that you got hacked yesterday. Is that true?
I wasn't hacked. I think half the world thought they'd been hacked. Did everybody survive the great Facebook outage of 2024 in good shape?
It was a meta outage, so it also included Instagram.
Yeah,
Don't
the gram was out, the book was out, and I didn't even know. Although I was trying to log in at some point yesterday just to see what was going on. I couldn't get in. I'm glad I didn't go any further because I'd have locked out everything.
You did it. You survived. I just saw Caitlin Clark's going to be on Good Morning America tomorrow.
She is just a blessing, a gift. And when those gifts come, you got to celebrate them, and they come so rarely. And the way that we celebrate our former athletes, I mean, they get so much while they're playing, and sometimes they kind of fade away. Others, they find themselves ways to stay relevant. And San Antonio, our greats, David and Tim, just kind of faded into the background and kind of show up every now and again. And either David with his, standing at attention in his history, or Tim, with his dreads, doing some kind of UFC fighting with some little dude. I don't know, but we don't get to see him, and we haven't celebrated him. And there's this void for us, and I believe in San Antonio, we don't have this place to go and celebrate what was this trophy garden, this area of statues to greatness. And I think we missed that. And I'm telling you, Iowa fan, as you wave goodbye to Caitlin Clark, you're going to miss this ridiculously. And she needs to be celebrated, to, give the reminder, the Michael Jordan statue in front of the stadium, the Shaq hanging on the rim in front of the Forum. I think that they need to do that other places quicker. Who out there, like LeBron, deserves and needs a statue now?
Well, first of all, I think this falls in line with the put them in the Hall of Fame now. Let them enjoy it, right? Like
while they're living.
Yeah, you should let even, in Caitlin Clark's, case, she's still an active player. I mean, do we really have to wait? Do we have to wait to acknowledge this? So I agree with you. I don't know what prerequisite should be required or whatever. Maybe it's just a feeling, a vibe.
Oh, we know.
But I came up with some, we can go through the Spurs ones if you'd like, but I came up with some also teams that should build statues for certain people around their arenas or ballparks or whatever, as far as active players are concerned.
Let's hear a primary one.
Jose Altuve, Houston Astros.
Wow. Yes, absolutely. And you'd save money on the brass because you don't need much. He's only,
Yeah, I mean, he is the greatest Astro of all time. And it's something that everyone should experience while this is, well, yeah. I mean, if he's not there, he's like 9/10 of the way there. You know what I mean? So Jose Altuve, he is sort of an emotional lightning rod for the city of Houston. That's a real H-Town pride thing. Difficult thing to say after those Rockets worked our Spurs last night. But
cast the mold when he retires, whenever that is, unveil it that day.
Yep.
I completely agree. And I wouldn't have put Altuve there. And I'm not sure I agree with the greatest of all time.
He's definitely, if he's not the greatest Astro yet, he's his floor right now is top 3. He will be number 1.
Greatest non-pitcher?
He's the greatest Astro of all time.
Over pitchers?
He's the greatest Astro of all time.
I'm not going to argue, although I'm sure there might be.
Let's roll through these. What else you got?
Okay, well, LeBron is an absolute obvious that needs to be given. Go ahead and put the statue up for Pat Mahomes. Just go ahead and do it. Do it while he's playing. Make it a good luck thing for the whole team to rub Pat's ass on the way out of the locker room. A giant Pat Mahomes statue, because we know it's coming. It's just a matter of where you're going to put it. Why wait?
Jason Kelce, we already talked about. I mean, they didn't even waste any time. They did the Nick Foles, Doug Peterson one. Like if Kelce doesn't have a statue, what are we doing around here? You know what I mean?
Very true. But do you put a statue up of a center?
I mean, I talked about this with my buddy Brandon Gouton, who is the me at SB Nation for Bleeding Green Nation, our Philadelphia Eagles site. And his take is that if there is a statue, it should be him in the Mummers outfit from the Super Bowl parade. not well, and I think that's cool because well, but also because of what that represents. Because for somebody who doesn't know, they say, what's he wearing? Oh, that's what he wore during the Super Bowl parade. You know what I mean? Like it's a cool, like immediate answer to that.
I've got a couple others.
Okay, let's go. I have some less
Me too.
Some more off the beaten path ones. So that's why I'm interested here. But you go first.
Justin Tucker. Greatest kicker I ever saw. Go ahead, put it up there in front of Baltimore Stadium. Justin Tucker. No?
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
That's a sideways. All right. I might have reached on that one. But in my mind, if I'm talking about the greatest I ever saw, for a brief shining moment, Justin Tucker's been that.
A lot of people said Steph in the Brigade Bar.
Yeah.
That's obvious. Like, but like you got to have a big Steph one, and then you got to have like a Splash Brothers one, and then you got to have one with Steve Kerr, and then you got to have a Draymond, you got to have an Iggy. Like they got a lot to work on there. There's a lot going on. This one's a little. I didn't expect something like Justin Tucker, so maybe we're kind of in the same stratosphere here. In Ann Arbor, Jim Harbaugh.
Yes.
Right?
You talk about a guy who deserves a trophy. Now, he's a cheater. We need to put him on there with a couple of asterisks behind him. He got there, but Michigan needed that so bad, and we'll be talking about that title for 30 years. Put the trophy
That's
up.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
In the Schembechler glasses, with the M hat, you know what I'm saying? Like, just maybe like on his knees, like, that's the pose, like watching, you know what I mean? Like in a stressed out kind of, moment. He like just Michigan man through and through and through and through and through. And especially right now, while everyone is so, and the Astros kind of went through this, obviously, and Altuve would sort of serve as that same kind of lightning rod. While everyone is like Detroit versus everybody, Michigan versus everybody, like you don't even have to pay for this. The taxpayers will pay for it right now. Like if there's a time, to write this off, do it now. Throw this baby up right outside of campus.
If you're watching our YouTube feed, I'm not going to say his name. I want you guys to have to go and look. Do you agree with this Rangers fan? For those that are watching, no, too soon.
I mean, this is great radio here.
No, I'm doing this on purpose because I want people to go check it out. I do believe that Adrian Beltre should get a trophy. A
trophy or a statue?
Big statue. And I wanted to, no, I said trophy and I meant because I was holding his bobblehead. And I want his statue to look just like this. I want him to be in a cowboy hat and a Texas flag coat.
I agree with Gilberto, by the way, in the Brigade Bar on the Justin Tucker thing. If he's going to have one, give it to him in Austin. Colt McCoy. What? I mean,
well, no, Colt McCoy. Now, we could expand this for every college town's got some dudes that need a statue. A&M should put one the size of the football stadium because he paid for it. Johnny Football.
Well, Johnny's been tweeting about how he has something for Northgate that's going to revolutionize it.
His bar sucks. Well, I've been to his bar. It sucks.
Hold up. Stay calm. Somebody tweeted a joke of a rendering, and it was a statue of him in the Scooby-Doo outfit. That would, like, if you put a Johnny in the Scooby-Doo outfit statue outside of Northgate, I don't know anything that, like, we're done with statues. You know what I mean? Like that's our walk-off as a society.
Well, I think we have a progression here. We have to agree on who deserves a statue. But once we agree on who deserves it, then we get to agree on the design of what the statue should, in fact, look like, which is probably a better discussion than the actual decision to who do it. Like Cujo77 puts on the scroll. Yes, Vince Young, the fact that he doesn't? Come on, Longhorn.
I mean, yeah, before Colt McCoy, Vince needs one, obviously. And the pose, obviously, goes without saying. How about, I don't know where this would go exactly, but Vern Lundquist. We need a Vern statue, an Uncle Vern statue. I don't know exactly where it goes, you know what I mean? But we need that.
We need a statue garden of the greats. I say he's Texas through and through, the best to ever do it. But then,
John Madden.
Where
do we put the Madden statue?
Brent Musburger, those that Pat Summerall, John Madden, all those greats, they need to be commemorated someplace. We need a Hall of Fame for those guys too. I completely agree with that. And we've got some currents like right now that we could go ahead and enshrine, that we could go through a variety of different sports. Anything on the periphery, like soccer players or any like.
Well, the soccer player thing, you could go like a billion different ways, but I have a different one that's a little, again, I'm really proud of us for going, as outside of the lines as we did here with some of these. at this point, considering the investment, Shohei Ohtani. I mean, like I recognize he hasn't played a game yet, but at this point, the investment is so large that you might as well. Like,
who gets to put it up? The Dodgers or the Angels?
The Dodgers. That's what I'm saying. Like, if you're the Dodgers, you've written the biggest check of all time. You might as well just build a statue now. You know what I mean? I recognize how ridiculous this sounds, but we're kind of at that place with this contract.
I think we're close.
Right?
I think we're maybe there. No, Raymond. Mike Trout does not deserve a statue.
Yes, he does.
And James Pledger, Reggie Bush. I guess that's a USC thing. If on a national thing, I'm not sure. But if I'm from USC, absolutely, I do believe it. Matt Leinart, absolutely not. Doesn't Tebow have a statue? I think Tebow's got something.
What do you mean, Matt Leinart? Absolutely not. That's
Matt
really
Leinart's
disrespectful.
He got there because of Reggie. I give credit where it's due.
That is such revisionist.
Oh man,
multiple things could be true. It could be true that Reggie was awesome, that he deserves his Heisman, all these things, and that Matt Leinart was awesome.
He was a very good quarterback, but there's been a lot of very goods. That's not what gets you a statue.
How about Aaron Rodgers at Lambeau? I think it's fair.
I think he deserves it. If I'm Green Bay, though, I'm making you wait. That's one of those things I'm not expediting. Seriously,
How about I'm going to say no here. Like, I would say no to him being a Hall of Famer, but he's going to get in. This is a polarizing subject for some people. Eli Manning.
Oh. Again, it's a franchise specific thing.
Oh yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. Like
if I'm a Giant, how can I not? How can I?
Yeah,
not?
I mean he won 2 Super Bowls. He was 2-time Super Bowl MVP. You know what I mean? Like he's a NFL royalty. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of difficult to argue against Eli Manning if you're the Giants.
I'll tell you what. No, you're right. The reason I brought this up is I want guys to get their desserts. I do think that teams are too reticent to celebrate their former greatness, even though the teams might not have been great, and they don't really want to look back on bad times, but with good guys. But I don't think that most franchises are good about celebrating their past. Because while we're talking about David and Tim deserve a statue, but for ICE, there is no David or Tim in San Antonio. So if we really want to talk about deserving, and I said I know I brought up current guys, it is a specific thing that I think, and if we're talking about the Giant lore, hell yeah, he deserves a trophy out front, a big statue. Now, it might need to be him with Tyree landing on his back, holding the ball on top of his head, but I would still say that he does deserve that. That's why we're having this discussion, because I don't think ordinarily we do this. But for the Giants, you better put that out there.
From Raymond, Joey Chestnut.
Did you see that last night?
No.
Last night, Joey Chestnut was at halftime of the Celtic Cleveland Cavalier game in Cleveland, and Chestnut ate 39 or 38 pierogies.
Dude, that's
one thing. So he's done eating, and of course they only have a limited time in halftime. So they run out and give him some kind of trophy. I don't know. He might have out-eaten somebody else. I didn't see the whole thing live. And then he turned to accept the trophy, and he's covered in food all over his face and just like, that is the award. I made fun of the Spurs last year for their halftime entertainment. I'd rather see the Allen B. Shepherd Glee Club, junior high Glee Club at halftime than I would rather see a guy shove 39 pierogies down his gullet.
I agree with you. I have one last statue thing, and it's a serious one. But I know you'll agree. Chris Mortensen in Bristol.
Another one where we're talking about legends among men, where we need a garden of greatness, where we can put guys like, well, you know, when you think of the guys we lost too soon, and he's certainly one of them, and Stuart Scott, and those that just meant something that we need. We owe it to ourselves to remember, and that's why you do that.
I'm all for naming conference rooms and things like that after these people as well, but there should be a statue as well for people like that.
Where should that be? Where would you put the broadcasters' garden of greatness?
Well, in Mort's and Stuart Scott's cases, I would say in Bristol. There should be some actual sort of garden
hill there behind Bristol, Boot Hill behind Bristol.
But I would argue for like Vern Lundquist or whatever, it should be the site of like their greatest calls. Like Keith Jackson's should be like at the Rose Bowl or something. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like it should be like where they had like the best moments of their careers. That's very difficult to discern for Vern. But
for all the guys that would need to be there, we're talking about 30 years of moments, 40 years of moments.
There should be a broadcasting Hall of Fame. But, like, you know what I mean? Like, we have individual sports halls of fames. So those should exist. Final nominees for me: Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen. They're at statue places.
I will agree with the first. Max, I know you're there, but you ain't there yet.
I think you're just being hateful.
Yeah. I hate those Belgian SOBs.
But yeah, Lewis Hamilton deserves a statue outside of Mercedes headquarters. In fact, they should change the thing on the hood of Mercedes vehicles. Instead of the logo, it should be like a little Lewis Hamilton.
Hey, let's talk some college sports as it pertains to getting paid. Arch Manning, we told you, isn't going to be in NCAA football. We might have the reason why. And there was some subterfuge and an interesting idea about keeping Caitlin Clark in college. And it's an idea that's going to save college sports. We'll talk about it next. You're on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
It's The Blitz with Jason and Joe. Afternoons at 2.
Coming up on The Blitz, the Spurs were in Houston last night. How'd they do? We're going to react to all of that.
Plus, the NFL rumor mill continues to churn. Of course it does. The latest NFL news and news on the Dallas Cowboys on The Blitz starting at 2.
The Blitz with Jason and Joe. Afternoons at 2 on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Joe Reinagle here. I want to tell you about something that has completely changed my life. I had vision correction surgery at Parkhurst New Vision. The results are amazing. The readers are a thing of the past. If you're like me and tired of those glasses, call Parkhurst New Vision at 210-585-2020. They offer a variety of services like vision correction surgery. So call Parkhurst New Vision, 210-585-2020, or get them online at sanantoniolasik.com.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early so everyone can go home on time, there's Grainger, offering professional-grade supplies backed by product experts, so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on access to a committed team ready to go the extra mile for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
To thank you for 40 unforgettable years, Dell Technologies is celebrating with anniversary savings on their most popular tech. For a limited time only, save on select next-gen PCs like the XPS 13 Plus, powered by Intel Core processors, and more. Plus, curate your dream setup with great deals on select monitors, mice, and more must-have electronics and accessories. When you shop online at Dell.com/deals, you'll have access to leading-edge technology and free shipping on everything. Again, that's Dell.com/deals.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9313. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9313. That's 800-575-9313. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
The way the NBA season is going in San Antonio, you need to find a way to add excitement to watching those games. Jason Minix here from The Blitz. The way to do that is by playing at Underdog at Fantasy. Go download the Underdog Fantasy app and start playing the Pick'em game, where you pick between 2 and 5 players from at least 2 different teams. Select whether they will be higher or lower on stats, and if your picks hit, you can win up to 100 times your money. It is fantasy, but legal in Texas. So download the Underdog Fantasy app or go to UnderdogFantasy.com. Sign up, use my promo code STAR, and Underdog will match your first deposit up to $100. Plus, they'll give you a mystery special pick to use on your first pick-em entry. Must be over 18 and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. Again, promo code STAR at UnderdogFantasy.com.
94.1 FM. Wake up with the Morning Huddle.
Feels good, doesn't it? Welcome to the Morning Huddle. He's RJ, I'm Rob. It's no mistake for those watching live that I'm appropriately adorned in the most beautiful color in the world, that is maroon. Hey, what went down last night in Austin? Oh, that's right. A&M rolled in there and beat them Longhorns 9-2. We played this game called baseball in College Station. That's softball y'all are lobbing around there. What's that name of that field?
I'm proud of that. Hook 'em.
Well, down 9-2. Welcome to the next SEC bottom dweller. Hey, I don't know what's going on with Texas baseball. They're in a bit of a skid, but A&M did roll in there last night. Schlossnagel's got himself a baseball team. We're headed to Oklahoma. I don't know if y'all know it. Now, we might be watching, but we're going to be in Oklahoma at the end of the season. Sorry, Longhorn. I had to get it in where I can. Now, we'll stay on the Longhorn side of things. Arch Manning will not be in your newest EA Sports NCAA football to kick around. He has chosen to focus primarily on being a backup quarterback instead of being the odds-on starter in the game. But maybe that's why he's not going to be in the game, because he's not going to be the starter.
This is embarrassing for Arch. And I think that he finally, or whoever runs him, caught wind of the fallout on Tuesday from his decision to not be in it, and how not believable the excuse was about how he didn't want it to be a distraction, and started to walk this back. So his official line here, the official defense is he doesn't want to be in the game until he's QB1. Arch, man, this ain't working out, man. I know UT lost that baseball game on Tuesday night and you're feeling down bad, but this is a bad, the Mannings generally have incredible PR and are incredibly funny and charismatic and witty and charming in their own right. So they very rarely fumble. You know what I mean? Like in the public sphere, this is a left-footed start for stuff like this for Arch Manning.
Now, if you're Arch and you're like, what's going to happen here? Do you think
Arch made this decision himself?
Well, it's kind of embarrassing. Like, everybody's looking at me, but when they open up the game, I'm the guy on the bench.
So the best explanation is that this is born out of extreme narcissism.
Oh, that's absolutely it. Not best, it's the owner. Scared to see him at a 57 overall. Exactly, Cujo. You don't want to see that 10-yard out arm string.
This became so much of a bigger story. This is a classic case of that, right? Like this became a distraction and a big story because of the way they handled it, as opposed to if he had just opted in, taken his free $600 and free, hey, Arch, PS5 or Xbox 360. That's it. That's the most difficult question he should have been faced with in this whole process. I agree with you, but I mean, instead, he opened himself up to all this criticism about how narcissistic he may or may not be. This was an incredible fumble from a family that doesn't do that, which is very interesting to see.
Enough about me being narcissistic. How narcissistic do you think I'm not? That would be what we're talking about. Quinn Ewers. There's an interesting story popping out in Iowa. As Caitlin Clark was mulling over her decision whether to go pro or not, Fox Television, FS1, considered this as an entity. They wanted to pay to give her an NIL, an image and likeness from Fox to keep her in Iowa so they can continue to broadcast her games while she's there. Now, they didn't end up doing it. It didn't end up working out because here's the other little backstory.
They didn't formally offer anything.
No, but they considered it. And you know who did give her the NIL money? The team, okay, the name on the stadium of the Indiana WNBA team, who is going to have the number 1 pick, who is going to draft her, and she's going to be in Indiana. Talk about a perfect place to play for Caitlin Clark. They're already funding her because they want her to come out. So they signed the deal. But when you think about what just happened there, this is the answer. This is the answer, college sports people. And you don't like the answer because it tastes bad, but this is the answer. To stop the portal, which is indeed the primary problem in college football and basketball and all of sports right now, the ability for players to make that one leapfrog move where, teams get used to it and suddenly they're gone. The way to circumvent that is the NIL becomes a personal services contract that is non-competitive. You can't go anywhere else until I release you. And you can't play in any other jersey than what I'm paying you to play in. So,
or at least any other conference.
Well, you could, it's a contract between 2 individuals that are 18 or older. You can set the parameters. You can say, I will let you out if you leave the conference. You can do that. Or you can say, I'm going to give you a 2-year deal. Now, the benefit for that, the consideration I'm going to give you is I'm going to pay you for 2 years, whether you're playing or not. You're just going to get a 2-year deal. But if you leave, you get nothing, and I won't let you contract with anybody else during that time.
This is a fascinating subject. Rob just peeled the first layer of the onion back, but there's a lot here because I don't know that this is the future as much as it is the present, and I'm very curious. You have to be a engine that draws ratings the way Caitlin, her debut, and this was all over the internet obviously the past few days, did more numbers, did better ratings than Wemby's debut, than all sorts of things. I mean, there's no question that there are athletes at the collegiate level that can serve as lightning rods for different conferences and their television packages and their broadcast partners. In this specific case, because the Big Ten is on Fox. I mean, it makes sense. It makes, because, and there's a lot to it.
Let's get into this. I want you to ponder this as we go to break. The way to save college sports as we sit is to pay every player in a personal services contract where they cannot leave the school they're in. We bring this up with the backdrop of, did you see the Dartmouth basketball team voted to unionize? All of this coming into play with the same subject. How do we continue to improve college sports? We're talking about it next. You're on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. I hope you started this day washed clean under a Kinetico water softened shower. I hope you understand the value of what you have, because you have the very best water softener you can have in this part of the world. See, San Antonio, South Texas, our water comes through limestone, which filters up some pretty nice water, makes some good sweet tea, fine light beer. But let me tell you, that stuff that comes up on your pipes sticks there. It sticks in your pipes, and what doesn't stick there ends up in your hair, on your skin, in your mouth, on your plates, in your dog's mouth, all the other stuff that you don't want to have happen. That's why Kineticos are so valuable. They take care of that problem before it even hits your faucet. And it only works until when you turn on your faucet. It doesn't plug in. It doesn't cycle through. It doesn't eat up a bunch of salt. It saves you money. It saves you time, but it saves your home. And if you haven't got one, you better get one. And there's a great time right now to do it. If you'll call 656-PURE today, 656-PURE, the Canepa family going to send out a Kinetico rep, and they're going to put a Kinetico in your home for 90 days. They're not going to ask you for a penny, not even a commitment. They want you to find out what so many of us already know, that Kinetico is the best you can have, and the availability is great. And once you have it, you're going to be like me. It's going to be the last water softener you're ever going to own. The warranty, apples to apples, is the finest you're going to see. What you get in your house, you're going to have for a long, long time. Hey, call Kinetico today at 656-PURE. Get one of those Kineticos in your home. I know. You're going to thank me later.
KTFM Floresville. This is 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star, your home for the Aggies.
Hi, I'm Henry Winkler. My eyes are very important to me. My eyes connect me with everything I love. I loved my late father-in-law dearly. He always lit up a room, but his vision dimmed with age. He had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. And since partnering with Apellis, I've learned there's an advanced form of dry AMD called geographic atrophy, or GA. His struggle with vision loss made me want to help others know about GA's warning signs. For some, colors appear dull or washed out. For others, hazy or blurred vision make it hard to see details, like fine print on price tags. Many have trouble seeing in the dark, making driving at night difficult. GA gets worse over time and cannot be reversed. If you think you have GA, don't wait. Treatments are available. Ask a retina specialist about FDA-approved treatments for GA and go to GAWon'tWait.com.
Do you have failing or missing teeth? Hi, I'm Dr. Andrew Mueller, Chief Oral Surgeon at Doctor's Implants.
I had missing teeth, I had crowns, I had partials.
There was no way I was going to walk into my bathroom every morning to see my teeth in a container.
At Doctor's Implants, replacing your teeth with full mouth dental implants might be the long-term solution you're looking for.
The 6-Hour Smile is a permanent full mouth teeth replacement. Your new smile will be custom designed to fit your face and lifestyle and will look and function just like regular teeth. You won't need to remove them from your mouth overnight, and you won't need adhesive to keep them in place. Eat freely and smile confidently again. Research them at doctorsimplants.com. Receive a complimentary doctor's consultation and CT scan when you call 210-640-0000. Again, that's 210-640-0000.
Home of the 6-Hour Smile.
Do you have unfiled tax returns or being threatened by the IRS that your wages are about to be garnished or bank accounts are going to be levied? You need an ally. Allies Tax Relief has professionals ready to fight for you. Their enrolled agents, tax attorneys, and CPAs have saved millions of dollars for taxpayers just like you. They won't just resolve your tax problems. They'll most importantly protect your wages, bank accounts, and all your assets from being taken by the IRS. Call for a free consultation. 800-230-5174. 800-230-5174 or go to alliestaxrelief.com.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting rules for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out.
Guys, got hair loss? I know what you're thinking. Should I shave my head, comb it over, wear a hat? Just stop. This isn't 1970. Keep your hair and your confidence because Bosley, America's #1 hair restoration expert, can give you your real hair back permanently. Check them out today because they're giving away an absolutely free information kit and a free gift card to anyone that texts expert to 200-300. Dude, you don't have to look like your dad because this isn't your dad's hair loss treatment. People all over the country trust Bosley because they're ahead of the curve. They use the latest technology to give you your real hair back. And the best part, Bosley's permanent solution is protected by the Bosley Guarantee. Let Bosley show you for free how awesome your hair could look with an absolutely free information kit and a gift card for $250 off. Text expert to 200-300. That's expert to 200-300.
San Antonio's Sports Star. San Antonio's Sports Center.
In the NBA, the San Antonio Spurs went down to the Houston Rockets last night, 114-101. That ended their 2-game win streak. Devin Vassell led the way with 22 points. Victor, in what was an uninspired performance, still almost had a triple-double, 10 points, 11 rebounds, and 7 blocks, though there were 6 turnovers in the loss. In college basketball, Texas A&M will play host to Mississippi State tonight, a game you can catch live right here on 94.1.
This Sports Center update is brought to you by Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 100% satisfaction guarantee.
How good you want to be? From play one to the last play, we fighting. Today's about opportunity and character. We got a chance to come out here and play football. It's a blessing. Hey, every season is full of defining moments. Let's make this day a defining moment for us in our quest. Let's go, baby.
This is the Morning Huddle on 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star with Rob Thompson and the managing editor of Blogging the Boys, RJ Ochoa. Now, here are the guys.
Hey, gather around. We got something to talk about. He's RJ Ochoa. Excuse me. I'm Rob Thompson. I'll spit that out again. This is the Morning Huddle. We're glad you're with us here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. Please do your listening duties. Make sure you are subscribed to the appropriate channel, the Morning Huddle. You are liking them as you can, and you are already signed up for our golf tournament, which is just 3 weeks away. Go to sasportstar.com for details on everything I just spoke of. We're glad you're here this morning. In this hour, I've got some Tom Segura tickets to give away. In about 30 minutes, he'll be at our Frost Bank Center on Friday night. We got some prime tickets for you. So hang on in about 30 minutes and keep your device close. We will be giving those away post-haste. We're talking college sports right now, but very quickly we will focus on free agency in NFL, as Dak isn't a free agent, but there's no imminent contract to see if he won't be in a year from now. The franchise tags have been laid out around the league. Several didn't get them. And Micah Parsons, much to his chagrin, is a defensive end, not a linebacker. There's some money involved with that. And RJ's got a great story to tell you. This is one of those NFL accounting things that is really worth discussion. You're not going to want to miss that. And that's going to be just a little bit after 8:30. But first, Caitlin Clark and college sports and how she is going to offer the blueprint for how college sports will eventually be saved by the very thing that people believe are going to kill it.
It was reported yesterday that Fox considered offering Caitlin Clark an NIL deal to stay at Iowa and delay, obviously, turning professional and entering the WNBA. And if you're thinking, what? Why? The reason is that Fox owns the right to the Big Ten basketball games. And so they want to broadcast more Caitlin Clark basketball games. They don't have the rights to the WNBA. So they lose out on her as a commodity to generate viewership and therefore revenue for them as a company. This is a really interesting potential, I don't want to call it a loophole, but new fountain to tap, or new area to tap for revenue and I was thinking about this during the break, not just collegiate athletes, and that's obviously the genesis of this discussion, but even collegiate coaches. Who's to say that the SEC can't throw money at a coach or whatever the case may be to prevent them from moving on to a different conference or whatever? Not the SEC, but like in this case, CBS or not CS, I guess CBS anymore. But you get my point. Like there's money. Everyone stands to gain from players being associated with schools, conferences, television networks. Obviously, there are partnerships in place between the two. This is a really, really, really fascinating world that we may have just, kind of opened the portal towards, no pun intended.
Because there's two things at play here. We look at the problem with college sports now. The one thing that most people look at, you're paying players and that's ruining college sports. When I hear that, that's an uninformed decision based in hearsay, because you haven't been paying attention. You've just been listening to horses' asses talk and you bought into it, because that's not the case. Because first and foremost, this has been going on for a long time. And just as Jimbo told us a couple years ago, now we can finally talk about it. So that isn't ruining college sports. But what is ruining college sports is the availability of these young players to do as every other American has ever been able to do. I can go work where I want. And if I don't want to work there, I can quit and go someplace else, as long as I'm not contractually obligated.
Yeah, everyone is constantly a free agent.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Most of us listening can quit and go someplace else across the street to the competitor because we're not contractually obligated. Now, I'm in a different line of work. I'm contractually obligated to stay where I am. And if I do leave, I can't go to a competitor because that's part of the contract that I signed. It's the consideration that they gave to me as my employer was the money. And when they gave me the money, I said, I will work for you and only you until you stop paying me. And if you chose to not have me work for you and not pay me, then I'm available to go someplace else. But as long as you're paying me, I can't go, or I have to negotiate my exit. And you're allowed to do that at 18 years of age or older, or you can have an agent do that for you. So Caitlin Clark was sitting as a junior, and right now she is being funded by Gatorade and Hy-Vee and Bose.
A lot of national brands.
Brands.
Not local NIL deals, right.
And it would be so easy for the Topps cards or Gatorade to say, you know what, Caitlin, we will benefit more by you staying in college. So we're going to pay you X amount of dollars to stay in college. And more importantly, we're going to pay you even more in this contract to stay in college, but we want you to stay at Iowa. So we're going to pay you $10 million to stay in college and stay at Iowa. Now, the moment you decide to leave, that's fine, but we ain't paying you $10 million, or we're going to continue to pay you $10 million, but you can't play anywhere else. It is incumbent upon you wearing the black and gold of Iowa.
It's fair to say that somebody's value may be more pronounced in a certain collegiate uniform because you have no idea the team they're going to end up on, obviously.
Absolutely. It might be on a market.
In Caitlin's example, you do, right? Like that's a unique example. I think you can make an argument that, a different example, it's a little bit older one now. There was potentially more marketing value to Trevor Lawrence as the quarterback at Clemson than for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Absolutely.
Right. So that's just the way that these markets work relative to their
don't you? And
sport.
while we're talking about the exceptional and the extraordinary, we're talking about Trevor and Caitlin. These two were destined to go pro and make millions and move on. But this also benefits the university for the backup guys, the guys that you rely on as a pipeline of talent as a fan of your favorite school. And while this freshman phenom signed and showed up and got a good NIL deal for being that, didn't start, but you see, as typical in college, by the time they're a junior, the expectation is they're going to get there. But what's happening across the country is they get there as freshmen, they don't like it, they get mad, and then they leave. Even though there's an NIL and all this other kind of stuff, so coaches are recruiting on the way in and on the way out, and that's why the coaching drain is going. Well,
I think the fascinating part here is Fox's involvement.
Well, anybody's involvement. It could be anybody.
This is now like the fourth wall. You know what I mean? The fourth wall is saying we will pay to keep you in the box.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's what's unique about this. This isn't local. This isn't even Gatorade in that respect, right? Because Gatorade can be her sponsor or her NIL deal or her supplier or whatever relative to wherever she's at, whether she's at Iowa or at Indiana. But Fox loses any attachment to Caitlin Clark the moment she turns professional, and that isn't the case relative to any college athlete because. CBS is now, to use college football as an example, the Big Ten's that's their conference now. But so there could be a Big Ten player who still gets drafted in the NFL that CBS still gets a piece of, right? Like if you wind up in an AFC team, CBS still benefits from that. In this case, Fox doesn't have any primary benefit from Caitlin Clark the way they do with her. When she's playing for Iowa, Fox has the ability to market her over and over and over and over again.
Once a week,
lose that ability.
Twice a week. Yeah, they got her. Yeah,
they lose that ability the moment she turns professional. That isn't the case with every network. So that's what makes this really unique. Is that Fox benefits from Caitlin Clark so much, 100% as a collegiate athlete, but 0% as a professional. So it totally makes sense that we're on the verge of some broadcast partner saying, we do not want to lose you and lose the profitability that you provide for us as a broadcasting company. We will give you the NIL deal to stay where you are because we have the contractual rights with your conference.
It'll save the game. And I'll tell you, it goes to the micro level as well. We're talking macro national brands when we're talking Caitlin. I've sat in on meetings over the last year discussing players here in San Antonio that we considered NILing here at the network. We haven't done anything yet. But we looked at it and said, you know what? And I don't, and some of these players, some we do, some we don't, have contractual obligations to broadcast their games. And there's one guy in particular, we all know who it is. I don't want to talk about it, but there's one guy in San Antonio who was the obvious choice to give an NIL, the biggest college football player ever to walk around San Antonio. That guy who's gotten a bunch of NILs to stay in school. Well, that very thing would benefit your local broadcast partner. So if I have the rights to Texas A&M as a broadcast partner here in San Antonio, and let's just say a kid from San Antonio goes to A&M, has, let's say, a Heisman Trophy type year as a freshman, or as a sophomore, could go pro as a junior. But me, as a broadcast partner in San Antonio, goes, you know what? He's worth more to me here than he is there. Why don't I go pay him the equivalent of what he might get someplace else? And let's keep him around for a couple years because I can go sell the broadcast time, or at least use it to leverage myself either through, advertising sales or at least notoriety. So that is what is going to save this sport. The schools don't have any right to tell you can't leave. And I don't want the school to have that right. You have every right to leave school, just
Nobody
like you have every right. So why give that back to them? And why get mad at the universities for finally allowing 18-year-old kids to do what every other adult's been able to do forever? So that's never going to close. That portal will not close. But when you get into the world of business, you're an adult and you can contract. And that's what will anchor college sports. We don't like it. We don't like to talk about it. But collegiate doesn't mean amateur anymore. It never really did.
Shout out to Dartmouth.
Now, that's something that has been attempted a couple of times over the last couple of years. Northwestern, about 5 years ago, another one of those smarty pants schools, all decided that if we unionize, we can start negotiating the schools paying us. We will organize and we will negotiate as a whole, and we will form a way to become employees of Northwestern University. Just like the coach is an employee, we will unionize, we will collectively bargain, and we will force you not only to pay us, but you're going to give us health care, you're going to give us retirement. We're employees. Heck, you're selling tickets for people else to watch us. Treat us as such. Dartmouth this week has attempted again. Now, the first time they tried to unionize at Northwestern, it was disallowed by the courts for a couple of procedural reasons. They didn't say you can't, just the way that you did it, you can't. It looks like Dartmouth has reevaluated, readjusted. That's the first step in something else that might help to save college sports. And that will be indeed not NIL money, not conferences, but finally the schools paying the players. And they can contract with them and say, yeah, here's your you get a 4-year contract at $40,000 a year. And as long as I'm paying you, whether you're on the team or not, you will never play for another team. And if I allow you to leave, I will allow you to leave and you can go play. You don't get to pick. You are now my employee until this contract expires.
That's fair. I mean, like,
as fair as it could be.
That's standard business ethics protocol 101. And to use the example at hand, Fox telling Caitlin Clark, we will totally be your NIL sponsor as long as you're in that uniform.
And let me tell you.
And beyond that, as long as we have rights to the Big Ten.
And
because that could change too. I mean, so as long as status quo is kept, we're all copacetic.
And ADs see that, and it scares the pants off them.
Oh, dude, because it requires work.
Well,
Well,
here's the problem. So I'm, as an athletic director, am negotiating a broad scope TV deal, radio deal, media rights deal with an institution. Well, what happens if the institution, the broadcast network, says, I don't give a damn about Iowa. I give a damn about Caitlin Clark.
Well,
I'm not paying you. I'm paying Caitlin wherever she lands.
That's the same problem that they deal with. That's how do we make ourselves the most marketable as a university?
So
right?
I think that'll force the universities.
It puts an onus on recruiting. I mean, it's the same problem you have. Like, we have to recruit the best players. We have to field the best recruiting classes. We have to have the best talent on the field or on the court or on the whatever. And so I think it's ultimately the same problem that universities and ADs face. It's just intensified. It's not a new thing. It's just you've got to be that much better at your current job.
But one of the things we have to consider is the inverse of what was going on with Caitlin. So let's just say that ESPN says, you know what? I'd like to have Caitlin playing for South Carolina. I think Caitlin and Don would be a hell of a team to broadcast. Why don't we go offer Caitlin an NIL to transfer to South Carolina? See, that's what scares the ADs into unionizing and allowing to pay the players, because last thing I need is to not only recruit against other universities, I'm now recruiting against the very entity that broadcasts what I have. And they say, you know what, she'd be in a better market over there.
So I think that's, to go back, we talked about Arch Manning earlier. I would not be so like think let's use that example specifically. Move away from Caitlin Clark for a moment. Arch Manning is the relative of who, from a notable standpoint?
A variety of Mannings. Eli,
right.
Peyton.
Okay, but Omaha Productions works in partnership with what network?
ESPN.
And the SEC belongs where starting this summer?
It'll be a CBS entity. No, it's going to ESPN. That's right.
That's right.
ESPN.
So do you think there is not an ESPN NIL deal for Arch Manning now that he plays for a university or will play for a university that is now a part of the SEC the moment that ESPN benefits from that? You know what I'm saying? Like, if Arch were, like, who's to say that there aren't even raises? You know what I'm saying? Within NILs. This is the complication of it all. Who's to say Arch doesn't say, you know where I think I am kind of considering taking my talents? Columbus looks nice. Ann Arbor looks nice. And now the SEC, or not the SEC, I keep saying that the Big Ten is CBS's conference because they lost the SEC to ESPN. So what would stop Arch Manning in this specific example from leveraging a different network paying him, in this case CBS, to saying, hey, ESPN, CBS will pay me all this money to go play for any Big Ten school. You need to pay me even more to keep me here in tow with an SEC school, the conference that you happen to have rights to. That's something that, to your point, other television networks could try to pry and pull in free agency, so to speak, because it's constant free agency, athletes to go play for them to benefit from the viewership that is associated with them. You have to be a really, really, really marketable person, obviously, to generate that kind of buzz. But Arch Manning definitely is relative to this example. And I would also argue that this is kind of not nepotism, but this is some sort of like insider trading with the fact that his uncles are ESPN employees as well. This is weird. The like wide net that ESPN is allowed to cast and control all of this with. But I mean, that's a different subject.
That's what happens when it's the Wild West and there's no regulation. And the one entity that could regulate across state lines ran from it. The Congress was the only place that this was ever going to get fixed, because there's too much money and there's too many different disparate interests involved. And they ran from it.
The deepest pockets. That's all this comes down to right now.
So the fix will be the university, the players unionizing, getting paid, and becoming contractual employees of that school, just like they were professors or coaches.
Rob, as we are talking about this, I just saw a tweet from Andrew Marchand, who's one of the best in when it comes to the media game. Peyton Manning is pursuing Bill Belichick for Omaha Productions.
There you go.
So
don't pull the string. Things start to unravel. We do want to hear your thoughts on this. Are you happy with this situation? Is it the progression that you would hope to see as college football expands and continues to grow and at the same time coalesce? We're going to continue talking about it. But coming back, we're only a week away from free agency, and Dak has no contract. Will he get that extension? We're talking about it next. This is 94.1, and you're on San Antonio's Sports Star.
94.1 San Antonio Sports Star Spring Golf Classic is set Monday, March 25th at Golf Club of Texas, with plenty of prizes, including a shot at $50,000 in a trip to the big game. Presented by Sierra Auto Group. Go to sasportstar.com and get signed up. A 4-person scramble, $120 per player to join, or a group of 4 can sign up together for $400. Then, after your round, join the San Antonio Sports Star gang for the after party, where the Blitz will be live at 90 Proof Bar and Grill on the corner of Highway 90 and Lucky Ranch, 10 minutes from Golf Club of Texas. It's San Antonio's Spring Golf Classic, benefiting the Will Smith Foundation, Monday, March 25th. Presented by Flight by Yingling and 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
The John Clay Wolf Show. Here's what's going on in the Wolf Pack.
Scott, you've had a question about radio stations?
Yes, I do. Back in the 80s, when JD and I guess Bobo were doing radios, why did stations sound so different, like in a car or something? Were they compressed or something like that?
Bob? Cocaine.
The John Clay Wolf Show, every Saturday morning.
Catch the John Clay Wolf Show, Saturdays from 9 a.m. to noon, right here on San Antonio Sports Star.
This is Rob Thompson. I'm here with my brother, Jason Thompson, a lawyerforus.com.
I'm a lawyer for you. I've helped you.
Yes, he has, and many others here in San Antonio. And that's why I'm so glad I get a chance to talk to you today about what happens when you get into an accident.
It's overwhelming for everybody involved. You have this paralysis of what to do next, who to talk to, how do you get medical care, or you're in the hospital and who's going to pay for this? It's this swirl of anxiety, and many times it's even worse than the injury itself. You have to help people through that situation. And I tell every client the same thing. Don't worry. I've got this. I will take care of this. Just worry about your family. Just worry about getting healthy. If I can do that for you and maximize your recovery, you stay in business, you keep clients. And for 30 years, I've kept every client I've ever had. I don't lose clients. I represent their family and friends because that's how seriously I take my job.
A lawyerforus.com. You can find him at 210-900-0400. That's 210-900-0400. Jason Thompson, a lawyerforus.com.
Drowning in IRS debt? If you can't afford to pay your IRS debt due to economic hardship, you can now be free of IRS collection efforts by taking advantage of a special IRS tax hardship program. This program allows Americans who owe the IRS to resolve their delinquent tax debt once and for all. In some cases, maybe even reducing what you owe significantly. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Simply dial 800-785-9545. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back or have years of unfiled tax returns, help is standing by. Just call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-785-9545 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attach attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-785-9545 to see if you qualify. That's 800-785-9545.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health San Antonio will for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 210-615-7777. That's 210-615-7777. Or visit revivemenshealth.com.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out. Go to nomoredraftywindows.com for full offer details. Attention all homeowners. Do you know when to replace your windows? Feeling too hot or cold? It's time to replace. Fog between the glass. Time to replace. Spending too much on expensive energy that literally goes out the window? It's definitely time to replace. If you've put off replacing windows in your home because it's too expensive, here's great news. You can now get a free in-home window consultation and free price quote from Renewal by Andersen, the company with the most 5-star reviews among leading full-service window replacement companies. And right now you can save $359 off every window and $887 off every door. Just text ENERGY to 200-300 for your free consultation on top quality affordable windows or patio doors for no dollars down, no payments, and no interest for a year. That's right, you don't pay a dime for an entire year. Plus save $359 off every window and $887 off every door. But hurry, these big dollar savings end this month. Text ENERGY to 200-300 right now. Text the word ENERGY to 200-300. Don't wait, text ENERGY to 200-300.
Let's go! Hi, it's Jason Minix. You're listening to the home of the Cowboys, 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
It's the Morning Huddle. You want to prove it? Go on to our YouTube channel. You will see us live. We are participating fully in this broadcast. Let's give away some tickets. I promised him a long time ago. Tom Segura will be in our beautiful Frost Center on Friday night. It'll be a fine evening of laughter-filled hilarity. If you want to go, get on your device, 656-3776, 656-ESPN. Caller number 5. You're going to go see Tom Segura. Get on the phone and get yourself some tickets. That's what we do all day, every day, give away fun. Speaking of fun, we're playing golf on March the 25th at the Golf Club of Texas. It is our annual spring golf classic. You are invited to play. It don't cost much, especially if you've already got your team put together. For some, you get just about $100, $80 break. If you're signing up on your own, that's cool. We'll put you on a team, but you got to sign up. And to do that, go to sasportstar.com. All the details are there. We cannot wait to see you. That's March the 25th, the Golf Club of Texas. We want to thank Flight by Yingling for helping us get there. And when we're done with all that, we're heading over to the 90 Proof Bar and Grill over on Highway 90, real close to the Golf Club of Texas at Highway 90 and Lucky Ranch, just 10 minutes away. We're going to celebrate the post party that is the spring golf classic that we do every year. Please, we look forward to seeing you. You can get yourself signed up. Dak's not a free agent, won't be for a year. But he's got one more year with the Dallas Cowboys, and this is the time you're supposed to get paid, get your contract done. He told us on Monday or Sunday he's confident. I heard from Adam Schefter yesterday, RJ, that there's no movement on any side. Dak can say he's confident, but that don't mean much.
This is a constant state of panic, a constant state of worry, a constant state of confusion. But we're a week away, or a week and let's see here, 6.5 hours or something like that from knowing an answer. Because if this is going to happen, something will happen. I'm confident either a restructure or an extension will happen before the new league year, so the Cowboys can alleviate somewhere around $18 million in salary cap space. Now, the restructure doesn't mean that an extension will not happen at some point in the spring or summer, but I would be stunned if they just did not touch his deal whatsoever before the new league year begins next Wednesday.
And give us the reasons why you would be stunned. Because it seems like we're headed that way.
I don't know that it seems that way quite yet, but I would be stunned because that would be foolish. And that's not to say it's foolish because it would mean they're not extending Dak, but because they're inhibiting themselves from being active in free agency. At the very least, they can restructure Dak's current contract and create salary cap space that they can use to bring in free agents. And the reason you would do that would be to help your football team be better, which is an endeavor I always advise the Dallas Cowboys to pursue. But if they don't do that, it would almost be purposeful ignorance to say, we just want to do it this way. And it would be the Cowboys purposeful. It would be the Cowboys having the key to the handcuffs around their hands, right in their hands, and saying, oh, guys, look at these handcuffs. We can't sign anybody. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. We're stuck. Blame Dak. Please don't blame us. It would be them just trying to dupe everyone into thinking that they cannot do anything in free agency because of the quarterback contract, which is 100% false. Do not let the Cowboys fool you. Do not let them lie to you.
Just after 9 o'clock, we're going to talk a little bit more Dallas Cowboys, and I want to spend some time looking at the Micah situation that he finds himself. They picked up his fifth-year option. There's some ramifications of that are going to kind of affect what we're talking about here. When you see that, they're waiting on Dak and there's $18 million to be gained, they didn't franchise anybody. This is the first time Cowboys haven't franchised somebody in 4 or 5 years, right?
Like 6 years.
6 years.
It's been a while.
There wasn't anybody that could be bargain hunted. Nobody. No, there wasn't even a candidate this year. I know Pollard has gotten it, and Dalton got it before that, right? And Dak got it a couple years.
Yeah, and DeMarcus Lawrence had it a couple years. So I mean, they've kind of used it poorly in the past.
Okay,
but they had no real reason to use it. I mean, there's nothing worth being upset about with regards to that.
I'm not saying, but what does that tell us? Does that tell us that they don't have the talent that they don't want, or does it tell us that there's nobody worth averaging up the top 5 because there's more money to be spent on guys that really aren't there? You know what I mean? Is that what that's telling us?
I suppose, but again, I don't think it's a big deal at all that they didn't. I mean, even I'll be bummed if and when Tyron does leave. But looking at the Cowboys free agents, there's not a player there, Tyron included, the Tyron thing is contextual. It's relative to them potentially lowballing him. But even then, there's not a player that if they lose, I think it's worth, freaking out about. Like they're all of their free agents they'll be fine with if they don't bring any of them back. I don't think that will be the case, but there's nobody that they're in danger or jeopardy of losing that they absolutely have to have back.
Is there anybody else that they could pay before the end of this week that they might, I remember a couple years ago when, was it Jalen that got the surprise deal?
That was closer to training camp.
Yeah, but it seemed like that one was out of the blue. Like they just gave us.
It wasn't out of the blue because it was forward thinking and it didn't.
Maybe that's why it was so shocking, but because it was forward thinking.
It was as soon as he was contract eligible. It was an initial overpay to underpay in the future. The problem with that is the last 2 times the Cowboys have done that have been for an off-ball linebacker, which is a devalued position, and a running back, which is a devalued position. So they're not doing this with the valuable positions. You would want to do this with quarterback, wide receiver, edge rusher, cornerback. And they did do that with Trayvon Diggs actually last year. So good for them. But the quarterback and the edge rusher, who they tagged twice each, they stretched in DeMarcus Lawrence and Dak Prescott and paid them as much as they possibly had to. It was the most inefficient way of going about it.
There's nobody else that the Cowboys are going to try to work out a contract between now and the beginning of free agency.
The only candidate I think is Tyron. I think they're probably going to let Pollard test the market and see how it goes, and then maybe he comes back and they figure things out. But Tyron would be the only one in my mind outside of a Dak extension. Just if we're talking about free agents to beat.
Well, other guys are getting deals done. Dalton Schultz got a pretty one put on paper yesterday. $12 million a year for 3 years. That is a worthy amount of money for a tight end. Coming back, this is the statement we want you to ponder. Tight ends are now more valuable, both monetarily and by play, than running backs. How did we get here? And will that ever change? We're talking about tight ends and running backs next, because big names getting paid and they ain't running backs. We'll be right back here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. I hope you woke up this morning feeling good. I hope there's nothing paining you, keeping you out of your life. But so many of us deal with those little things that just keep us from doing things that you love. I'm talking about, you might have pulled a muscle in your back and you just can't help a friend out. Maybe you're working last weekend, or maybe working with the kids, rolled an ankle. You can't go out this evening. If you're dealing with something that's keeping you out of life, you don't have to wait. You can get it fixed. Arasti is here to do just that. They've been doing it for years and have helped thousands and thousands of people. And what's great about Arasti is how they do it. Because it's not about pills to hide the pain or to dull it. It's not about surgery to prolong the issue. It's about your body fixing itself. It's a remarkable thing that works. On average, Arasti patients are back in the game doing things they love in under 4 visits. I am a living proof of that. I've had lower back issues most of my adult life. A lot of times spent on courts and on the road. And man, every now and then it just twinges up. It's called an adhesion. I learned that from my Arasti provider. They got me fixed, but more importantly, they told me how to get myself out of pain on my own. And that's why I'm an Arasti patient for life. Other benefits? Heck, I don't need a referral to go. I can call them whenever I need them. Write this number down. It's 1-800-404-6050. They accept my insurance, and they accept most. They should accept yours. I got a full evaluation when I walked in, and they got me fixed. Don't let life get in your way. Don't let pain keep you from doing things that you love. Call an Arasti provider today. They're going to get you fixed, and when they do, I want you to thank me later.
If you miss the Blitz with Jason and Joe, then you miss this.
John Machota from The Athletic joining us. You mentioned Dak. Do you find it normal or a little odd that they're apparently not going to meet with Dak's representatives there in Indianapolis?
I don't think it's odd, just because of the fact that his representation hasn't changed since the last contract, and so they know where everything pretty much stands. It's about, this is where we want to be, this is where you want to be. Do you want to give a little bit? Are we going to give a little, or are we going to wait this thing out like the last one, where in the end, Dak got pretty much everything you could want?
Right home with the Blitz. Afternoons 2 to 6 on 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
This Entertainment Insider is sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Comedian Dulce Sloan invites people into her life with a new book, Hello Friends.
And I don't know if you ever seen a whole book, but you got to put words in those. And there were like a lot of them. I didn't count them. That's not my job. But what I will say is that you have to fill it up so they'll pay you. It was difficult, because I was thinking about, I had to go over my whole life. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save nearly $750 on average. Call or click today and find out if we could save you hundreds on your car insurance.
This is business analyst Jill Schlesinger. In today's world, it seems the best treatment is reserved only for a few. Well, Discover wants to change that by making everyone feel special. That's why with your Discover card, you have access to 24/7 live customer service, as well as $0 fraud liability, which means you're never held responsible for unauthorized purchases. Finally, no matter who you are or where you are in your life, you'll feel special with Discover. Learn more at discover.com/credit card. Limitations apply.
Not to brag, but Progressive's Name Your Price tool is mankind's greatest tool ever. Even better than the wheel. Sure, without the wheel, we wouldn't have modern transportation or funny videos of dogs riding skateboards. But without the Name Your Price tool, we wouldn't have easy access to auto insurance options based on our budget. And, well, cars do need wheels. They also need insurance, and insurance never goes flat. Learn more about the greatest tool ever, the Name Your Price tool at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Gabby.
Hey, Gabby. It's Jennifer Coolidge. Hi. I'm so glad I reached you at 2 a.m.
Oh, of course. Anyone with a Discover card can call and talk to a real person 24/7. Now, how can I help?
Yeah, I used my Discover card to buy these yellow pleather pajamas, and I'm just not sure I'm pulling them off.
24/7 U.S.-based customer service. It pays to Discover. Limitations apply. Learn more at discover.com/credit card.
Hi, I'm Kamiko, the founder of Miko's Hot Chicken. When we started our family restaurant, we were also raising a family. But let me tell you, it wasn't easy. Our Chase Inc. card was there to reward us on all of our business needs. Now we have a thriving location, and we're hungry for more.
With the Chase Inc. Business Unlimited card, you can earn unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase, so your business can go from here to possible. Chase for business. Make more with yours. Real business owners compensated for their participation. Cards issued by JPMorgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC. Subject to credit approval. Terms apply.
Something bad has happened to Mom.
Streaming March 14th on Peacock.
Joy Delaney, mother of 4, has gone missing.
From the author of Big Little Lies and 9 Perfect Strangers.
She will come back.
You think we're this, big, happy family?
I have a confession.
Starring Oscar nominee Annette Bening, Sam Neill, Jake Lacey, and Allison Brie.
Secrets will poison any family, and what you don't know can hurt you.
Apples Never Fall. Streaming March 14th, only on Peacock.
Good morning, everybody. Jason Minix here from The Blitz, starting at 2 o'clock today. Of course, we'll talk Spurs Rockets from last night and look at the NFL rumor mill, which continues to churn. We'll also have the latest rumors involving the Dallas Cowboys, of course. Rob, saw your post yesterday because I was logged into Facebook. I wasn't shut down. The smell of mountain laurel?
Yeah, I'm an old man. I'll admit it. Welcome on to the Morning Huddle. The young man in this crew, RJ Ochoa, the old get off your porch, my porch kind of guy. Yeah, I took a picture of a flower yesterday. I will admit it. I was in a spiritual moment of repose. I was walking the property, and as I was standing there, hoping my dog would finally take a crap so I could go inside, the breeze blew through the mountain laurels, and man, there's nothing that puts me in a better mood than a sunny South Texas day. Breeze and the mountain laurels blowing. You only get it for about a week. And I don't know what the freezes and the weather has done over the last couple of years. It just feels like, at least on my part of town, the mountain laurel is blooming and there's a lot of it. It's just in the breeze.
Quick off the beaten path thing, if you don't mind. I just saw something during the break.
We often travel there.
Good Morning Football, NFL Network's morning show, airs from 6 to 9 Central.
What terrible hours they have to keep.
Well, it's based out of New York. So they filmed this in, I believe, in One World Trade Center. So that's what, 5 to 8 local for them that they filmed the show. Who knows what time
headquarters? They're over at the One World.
Well, that's the story, is that this summer they're moving the show and its production to their California, Los Angeles, Culver City, whatever you want to call it, headquarters. That's so the production will now take place from NFL Media's headquarters in California. And there's a 2-hour extension series that is going to be subject to syndication. So there's a lot happening here. But so imagine all these people, like not just the on-air talent, but production assistants and directors and producers and other talent that are like, hey, we need you to move over the course of this spring and summer
2 hours earlier
from New York to, and this show, to your point, that we produce that runs from 5 to 8 Eastern, it's going to run from 3 to 6 Pacific.
I laugh.
That is wild.
Because I said yes to that. Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. It's going to run from 4 to 7 Pacific. I was off on my hours. But yeah. It starts at 7 Eastern. I was off. It starts at 6 for us. So yeah, 4 to 7 Pacific is when that show runs. What on earth?
See, that
is way different than us.
Behind the scenes stuff that the media business, you don't really, it's kind of like, planes land all the time, but there's aircraft controllers there landing them. For you to get your sports, we got to get up at 2 a.m. to do it. And they just got told, not only are you moving, but you're getting up 3 hours earlier than you ever did before.
And like I said, I think you flew over. There's a 2-hour extension series that I don't know if they're adding that or what, and that's going to be syndicated. So
good for them.
The 3-hour show might become a 5-hour show. That is wild. And it's hard to get up, in general, after games and things like that. Imagine a Sunday night football game, and then you got to get up to do a 4 a.m. Pacific show.
We ain't that far off, my young brother.
Dude, that's 2 hours.
We're all in the same club. Man,
2 hours
if you're getting up before 5 a.m., it don't matter. It's kind of like, man, it's hot. It's 105. Once it's 99, it don't matter. It's hot.
I don't think so. This is a little different. Just a teeny bit different.
Welcome to the party, guys. Although it is, for my money, the best morning show out.
Agreed.
Big
news for NFL media.
Big news in the NFL. And one of your favorite dudes got paid yesterday in Dalton Schultz. And he's one of those guys that I think is the perfect example of the modern NFL, because Dalton Schultz is a quality NFL tight end and could have played in any era. But I'll tell you this, up until the most recent era, he would have been a TE2. He'd have been TE third down. He would have been the other tight end to the blocking tight end, the starting tight end. And over the last 5 years, as the tight end game has become more and more of a slot wide receiver game with just a little bit of chip work that's involved with the Wildcat and the RPOs that have changed.
You're so underselling. Wow.
I believe that this is the best time in the history of the NFL to be a tight end. It is. Look down the row, and I put it. Edwin, do this for me. I want you to pull up the cost to have these guys. What are the top 10 tight ends getting paid, and what are the top 10 running backs getting paid? Running backs are no longer as valuable as tight ends, and for a guy of my age, it's just unfathomable that we got to this point.
Well, Rob, you sound like when we were talking to Caitlin Clark, you sound like, I just can't believe they're paying the players.
No, I think tight ends deserve it, but they have gotten it to the detriment of a position that has been held in probably in the esteem of general managers over the history of the NFL. The running back position is probably considered, on average, through the decades, probably in the top 6 most important positions on the team. And now
Dalton Schultz's $12 million a year deal doesn't even put him in the top 10 highest paid tight ends on an annual average basis.
Ridiculous.
There are only 4 running backs that make more than $12 million per year: Nick Chubb, Jonathan Taylor, Alvin Kamara, and Christian McCaffrey.
And every one of those, but McCaffrey's, those contracts are considered a mistake.
Well, the Jonathan Taylor deal is pretty fresh, and I don't know that they're considered a mistake. Again, I don't know why you can't make peace with this. Like, running backs are fine, but they're just not worth investing in. You can overpay, and by definition, it is overpaying if you have a quarterback on a rookie contract. And that's why Nick Chubb and Alvin Kamara, their teams are in some dire straits now, because you have the Deshaun Watson contract in Cleveland, you have the Derek Carr contract in New Orleans, which the Saints just restructured again. That dude has like a $70 million cap hit next year. Like, they are in, people say it all the time, they are in cap hell. But Jonathan Taylor plays for a Colts team that has Anthony Richardson. So they have pennies on the dollar to work around, so they can inflate other positions that you cannot pay when you're trying to be efficient from a financial perspective. Same thing for Christian McCaffrey. Literally the most inexpensive contract that you could have at the quarterback position in Brock Purdy. So, yeah, I mean, this is just the game, man. I mean, the running game matters, but paying top shelf money to a running back is such an antiquated thing. Like, you might as well be using VHS players and CD players. I mean, like, that's where you're at from a philosophical perspective.
Millennial thing to say.
No, it's not.
It
Again,
is.
the finances represent the point.
I'm
Again,
not
if
saying
you're
what
like,
you're
we
saying
gotta
is
we gotta
wrong.
pay this running back $1 million,
But
dollars per
expect-
moment, and we gotta hand him we gotta feed him the rock, and we gotta set up the play action. These are all antiquated philosophies.
They are antiquated today, and in 5 years it'll be back. It will be.
What
This
is
is a
what is that
cyclical league.
declaration based
But
off of? There's-
and you are
that's just-
absolutely right in that the value of a tight end is more than a running back right now. But never delude yourself into the fact that you can equal quantity or quality at a position with quantity. You never mistake and say, we can equal one great back with 3 average backs. It doesn't work that way. It just doesn't.
You're manipulating the point. Nobody is saying that.
Right.
What is being said is you can have the run game that you need to work in harmony with your overall offense with qualified running backs, but you do not have to pay them over the top money.
No.
If you want to pay Josh Jacobs or Austin Eckler or Tony Pollard or whoever $4, $5, even $6 million to play for your football team this year, go for it. But you even have said this particular episode of the Morning Huddle, man, there's a whole lot of running backs available in free agency. That is the point.
But see, my point is
that there's so many of them.
If I was a general manager right now, and I'm looking at I'm out a bad team. Let's say I'm a GM of a team that's trying to make the way. Arizona would be a good example. Now, there's other guys there, but I'm Arizona. I got a couple of good dudes, but I got a long way to go. And I've got a little bit of money to spend. I don't know if Arizona does, but if I'm the team that's as average as you can be average, and I got a little bit of money, if I'm looking around the running back room and I see not one good running back, but I see 4 really good backs that, given the right situation and health and everything else that, the variables that I can't control, if everything went well, things could go above and beyond, even better than if I had signed the third best tight end in the league. I'm telling you,
Arizona
I can
is
get
a perfect
more
example
bang for my
of,
buck for an
of
$8
avoiding
million
this.
running back than I can for a $25 million tight end. I can.
Arizona
if things
signed
work.
James Conner to a 3-year, $21 million deal. That's $7 million per. That even right now is actually kind of expensive, but he has been a highly efficient running back for them. They haven't had a lot of success, but he has had a lot of individual success, especially against the Cowboys. Incidentally, that deal was so much better than the franchise tag that Tony Pollard played under, the franchise tag that Saquon Barkley played under. Though, and it was for a lot. It was for literally like 35%, less dollars. So that's the plan. Go out and get a capable running back. Nobody is saying that it can be any average Joe, but there are 100 capable running backs available in free agency.
There are not,
and there are another
capable
100
running
in the
backs.
There
There
I don't
are
know
not.
what.
There are not 100 capable.
There
are
is one
fewer
player
capable running backs
worth
than there
paying,
are.
and his name is Christian McCaffrey.
No,
That's
there
it.
are others, but there's
No,
not
there's
very
not.
many. But those that are worth it, there are teams that are letting value escape. Because the rest of the league tells
you are looking at a mirage. You're in
No,
the
I'm
desert
not.
and you see this mirage. You're like, oh, there's an oasis over there. No, Rob, stay away.
I can go win a Super Bowl with 5 talented positions. Now, which talented positions I choose will be different. But I'll tell you what, the effect on more wins can be made at running back than tight end.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
That is fundamentally and patently false. There's zero truth to that. It is one of the least important positions in the entire NFL as far as the individual is concerned. It is the most dependent position on circumstances around them. There is no position where a star player can make, an impact, in spite of what's around them. Saquon is an incredibly talented running back.
You're stuck
to
on
your
me
point.
with Saquon. I'm talking about talented backs, whether it be Derrick Henry or Eckler. That
to your
there's
point
value
about-
to be found right
to
now
your
more
point
than you could have ever
about
found.
Saquon, though, he is extraordinarily talented, but the circumstances around him are so bad and are so poor to where he did not make a sizable impact, which is proof that giving him the money to make an impact is an improper utilization of resources. That's the overall point.
I could say the same thing about drafting a rookie quarterback in front of a bad line. What are you doing? I mean, you could say that about any position. You are incumbent upon
if
others.
you're doing
but I
that,
will
then you're
tell you
using
this.
then you're using the funds to improve your offensive line.
Exactly. And with backs like this, not every team should go pay Saquon Barkley or Derek above what market is, which now appears to be about 7 or 8 million. But there are teams that, to their detriment, are going to go sign a tight end because that's what everybody else is doing. And that's the market. I got to pay that much. And they're going to lose out on talent that is available. Austin Eckler, Saquon Barkley, and Derrick Henry should never be unemployed. They should be employed long before Dalton Schultz, maybe for a little bit less.
No.
But the benefit to a team can be achieved quicker through running back in the running game than finding a quarterback that can deliver the ball to a tight end that gets the protection. The market's out of whack right now. Like it got out of whack with other positions. It's fixing itself, but tight ends are getting paid too much, man.
He's not even a top 10 tight end from an annual average value standpoint. What are you upset about Dalton Schultz making $12 million a year for?
It's the other 10 that have priced those other guys out.
I mean,
trust me, I know the value. Look at the Super Bowl. You had Kittle and Kelsey. I know what it means to have a tight end.
It's the market at running back isn't out of whack. It is finally
but it will
representative of the way finances should be spent in the NFL.
And
That's where the market at the running back
Fred,
position is.
you hit it on the head. Yes, running backs get injured too much. They do. That's a problem. You look, Saquon, Fred Taylor, everybody, they get hurt. But right now, I'm not kidding. If I was a GM and I had a little bit of money and I had a long-term contract, I'd go get 2 of those backs. I'd spend $15 million on Derek and Saquon and double down. I would do it. Y'all are zigging, I'm zagging. I'm telling you, it would work. I'd win 8-9 football games just on my running game alone.
No,
I would be like Air Force and Army. You ain't seen this, so when you play me, I'm going to beat the living crap out of you.
Buy into us.
And you're not. You might beat me this week, but you're going to lose next week. I'm going to be that guy, and I'll do it on the cheap. I'll get 2. Can you imagine? You could wake up as a general manager today and say, I got $15 million. I'm going to go get Saquon, or I'm going to get Eckler and Jacobs. I'm going to get them both.
But you don't have to do that. That's, again, you could get Dalton Schultz and one of these guys. Like, I don't know what your obsession is with having 2.
But like what I'm saying,
there's
Dalton
only one
12
ball.
is yes. If Dalton's available at 12, yes. But I'm talking about Kittle or Derrick Henry. I'm taking Derrick Henry every day of the week. I am. And that might be my old brain, my old head talking, but I would much rather have a dude that I know I can hand the ball off and going to go get me 4 yards, whether a block is made or not, 4 times out of 5, or a tight end that is relying upon a quarterback finding him getting in the space, him catching. It just is an easier, quicker fix. And now it's relatively cheap. So I think what's going to happen is the market's going to switch. There's going to be somebody wake up next month and go, how much are we paying our tight end? He caught the ball.
No. There's going to be somebody that in 3 months is going to say, Austin Eckler's still a free agent. Let's throw him 30 cents on the dollar and we'll be good. That's exactly what's going to happen.
Knox do to get Buffalo anywhere?
He's one of the best pass catchers on their team, or he was at the time, and then they drafted Dalton Kincaid. I mean, he has been Josh Allen's security blanket outside of Stephon Diggs, again, prior to the arrival of Dalton Kincaid.
And they had him, and they got another one.
Because if there's 2 things worth having in this discussion, it's tight ends, not running backs. Because guess what? Both tight ends can be on the field at the same time and help you. That is not necessarily the case for running backs.
Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley on the field at the same time.
I appreciate
there's guys out there that y'all are listening and going, you know what? Rob's kind of right. You don't want to admit it. You're listening and going, yeah, that's stupid, but you know what? It'd be kind of cool.
I appreciate that you are looking under that rock. Yeah. You know what I mean? We're like we're SpongeBob and Patrick right now, and it's the rock with all the algae and all the weird stuff that nobody goes near.
RJ, there's something in me that I see value there, and I feel like there's a way to capitalize on it. I can go get a guy the ilk of Josh Jacobs or Eckler
that ilk is
I would have
not
had
impressive.
access to. And if I'm an OC worth my salt, I can get him. It's kind of like the rookie quarterback deal. If I can only pay $7 million and I can pay a little more to a left or a right tackle, and I can assure myself of a 4 down. What Philadelphia taught me this year is if I can come into every series knowing I got 4 downs because I can get 1.5 yards on the ground whenever I want it. That changed
I'm not
the
against
game.
you having multiple running backs.
I'm talking about having 1 or 2 great ones because average running backs don't get me anywhere.
There's one great running back. His name is Christian McCaffrey. So you want to pay great money to 2 really good running backs.
$8 million?
That is great money in the running back market. That is great money.
That's tight end money. That's where tight ends should be getting paid.
No, that's what I'm saying. You can have 2 running backs. Pay one of these dudes for all I care, but draft the other guy. You can have them both for like $8.5 million on your salary cap. You don't have to spend all this money just because the money's burning a hole in your pocket.
I have a fix. We will call, let's see, who's going to, Kittle. Kittle will, from now on, he's no longer going to be a tight end. We're going to call him a fullback that lines up on the line of scrimmage. That way we can pay him appropriately. We can pay him appropriately, and it'll be paid appropriately to his health. Heck, the Cowboys did it to Micah. Listen to this. Micah got his 5th year picked up, but he's not a linebacker. He's a defensive end. What do you think? Because it matters. Several $1 million worth. Wait till you hear the explanation to why this kind of happened. Because when you guys saw it, RJ, when you saw the dollar values that are being assigned here to Micah with this 5th year, and the money that's coming, did you feel like they nickel and dimed him?
That was my initial assumption, but I think that it may have been incorrect.
Well, we're going to figure out exactly what's going on with the Cowboys. Yes, Micah is going to get paid. Yes, he had his 5th year option picked up, but not at a position that might be most equitable, or is it? We're talking about that next. This is the Morning Huddle, and you're on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. Hey, I don't know if you guys have been paying attention, but up in North Texas, the biggest wildfire that Texas has ever seen swept across a whole box of cattle land. We lost a lot of cow. A lot of good meat was lost out there on that farmland up in North Texas. Here's a way to protect yourself for what you know is coming. Meat prices are about to go up, and us grillers, we've been through this. Well, Tri-County is here to help. They have got curated frozen boxes waiting on you right now. Buy in bulk now. Put it in that big old box freezer freezer next to your deer and pull it out when you need it. And they've got a variety of packs set aside for the type of griller you are. If you're a starter, how about 50 pounds of top-level meat, including ground beef, chicken, leg quarters, and 10 pounds of boneless pork chops for under $200, $150. If you're a weekend griller and you're looking for steaks and ground beef and chuck roast and fajitas and all that, they've got a box for that as well. Buy in bulk and buy the very best in bulk. Because when I talk Tri-County, I'm talking about meat that starts at prime and adds up from there. You're looking for akaushi, you're looking for something unique, they've got it. You're looking for a Pitmaster box of meats that you can grill on all summer long with 5 pounds of fajitas, 5 pounds of ribeyes, 5 pounds of New York strips. I'm still going. 2 pounds of beef tenderloin, 5 pounds of top sirloin, 10 pounds of ground beef. They got a box waiting for you. Head over to Tri-County, either one of their locations. Reserve a box today and grill at your leisure from now on. Tri-County Meat Market, a great meal starts with meat from Tri-County, either location, Heaton or a Ralph Fair. Go there today. Thank me later.
This is the Morning Huddle with Robin RJ. Morning 6 to 10, KTFM Floresville, and everywhere at sasportstar.com.
Hi, I'm Kamiko, the founder of Miko's Hot Chicken. When we started our family restaurant, we were also raising a family. But let me tell you, it wasn't easy. Our Chase Ink card was there to reward us on all of our business needs. Now we have a thriving location, and we're hungry for more.
With the Chase Ink Business Unlimited card, you can earn unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase, so your business can go from here to possible. Chase for business. Make more with yours. Real business owners compensated for their participation. Cards issued by JPMorgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC. Subject to credit approval. Terms apply.
Something bad has happened to Mom.
Streaming March 14th on Peacock.
Joy Delaney, mother of 4, has gone missing.
From the author of Big Little Lies and 9 Perfect Strangers.
She will come back.
You think we're this big happy family?
I have a confession.
Starring Oscar nominee Annette Bening, Sam Neill, Jake Lacey, and Allison Brie.
Secrets will poison any family, and what you don't know can hurt you.
Apples Never Fall. Streaming March 14th, only on Peacock.
Hi, I'm Henry Winkler. My eyes are very important to me. My eyes connect me with everything I love. I loved my late father-in-law dearly. He always lit up a room, but his vision dimmed with age. He had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. And since partnering with Apellis, I've learned there's an advanced form of dry AMD called geographic atrophy, or GA. His struggle with vision loss made me want to help others know about GA's warning signs. For some, colors appear dull or washed out. For others, hazy or blurred vision make it hard to see details, like fine print on price tags. Many have trouble seeing in the dark, making driving at night difficult. GA gets worse over time and cannot be reversed. If you think you have GA, don't wait. Treatments are available. Ask a retina specialist about FDA-approved treatments for GA and go to GAWon'tWait.com.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out. Minimum purchase required. Interest accrues from date of purchase, but is waived if paid within promotional period. Go to windowappointmentnow.com for full offer details.
Dan, this house is freezing. It's got to be these old windows.
The windows are fine.
It's time to text renewal by Anderson. Otherwise, I'm cranking up the thermostat.
No, our heating bill is huge.
Exactly. We need new windows.
You think so?
Our windows are over 10 years old. They're letting out the warm air and wasting money.
You're saying we could actually save money and the house would be warmer if we replaced our old windows?
Yes. And if we text now, we can save hundreds of dollars.
I'm texting renewal by Anderson.
Text outside to 200-300 right now and schedule your free consultation with Renewal by Anderson online today. Plus, text now during the 31-day March sales event and get $377 off every window and $777 off every door when you buy 4 or more units. Text outside to 200-300 for no dollars down, no payments, and no interest for a full year with Renewal by Anderson. Text the word outside to 200-300. Outside to 200-300.
George gets justice. In life's most challenging moments, getting the right help matters most if you've been injured. Get George at George Salinas Injury Lawyers. With a track record of success and a dedication to their clients, George gets justice. George Salinas Injury Lawyers is not just a law firm. They're your support system. Get George at George Salinas Injury Lawyers today at 210-225-0909 or visit getgeorge.com. George gets justice. Getgeorge.com.
Injuries happen, and when they do, skip the ER and get to the Ortho Now Injury Clinic by TSAOG Orthopedics and Spine. Ortho Now provides walk-in care for injuries like broken bones, dislocation, sprains, and strains. Conveniently located in the Corey area with extended hours Monday through Saturday with on-site x-ray casting and bracing. Ortho Now has everything you need to treat your injury, and best of all, no urgent care or emergency room copay. Learn more online at tsaog.com.
San Antonio's Sports Star. San Antonio's Sports Center.
In the NBA, the San Antonio Spurs couldn't make it 3 in a row as they fell to the Houston Rockets 114-101. They'll have to settle for the 2-game win streak. Devin Vassell led the way with 22. Victor Wembanyama, in what was a tired performance, offered 10, 11, and 7, nearly a triple-double. In the NFL, the Cowboys picked up Micah's fifth-year option as a defensive end rather than a linebacker. We're talking about it next.
Wembanyama 3, good! Goes behind the back here. Oh, little sidestep and a jam by Wembanyama. Drive. Oh, it's knocked away by Wembanyama.
This is the Morning Huddle on 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star with Rob Thompson and the managing editor of Blogging the Boys, RJ Ochoa. Now, here's Rob and RJ.
Hey, gather around. We got something to talk about. It is the Morning Huddle, hour number 4. We're going to finish strong. It is the bell lap. He is RJ Ochoa, a well-renowned anti-running back hater. And on the other side of that is double pane glass is Easy Edwin Hafner. I'm Rob Thompson. I'm the guy that loves Jim Brown and Walter Payton and Earl Campbell, Emmitt Smith, the greats, the pantheon. You choose to degrade them and call them safeties and also-rans and slot backs. And what's the position that comes and goes out of favor? What's the tight end that lines up behind the line of scrimmage? What do they call him?
I know that you
X-back or whatever you'd rather have an X-back, wing-back.
Also, when you were mentioning this, Oklahoma State has a specific name for this position. It is the cowboy back.
See, you hate those guys.
Well, I mean, I just am not the hoarder that you are. You're like, don't throw it. Don't throw that magazine. I might read it, 5 years from now, please. Just leave it where I have it. I have a system. It's all good.
Has Micah Parsons at any point in his career, whether at practice or in a game, ever carried the football? Could they have designated him a running back?
He's actually talked about that before, how he would like to get some goal line carries.
I would like to see the Cowboys
I'm
do
sure
that.
He wants some touchdowns to boost his contractual value.
Because running backs don't mean anything. Seriously, Micah's 5th year was picked up. That's not a surprise. We knew that was coming. And we've always joked about defensive end linebacker because one position gets paid just a little bit more, and it's how you get designated. So as we saw the story yesterday, the Dallas Cowboys, according to Dallas Morning News and Michael Galkin, are going to exercise the 5th-year option on pass rusher Micah Parsons, but they've designated him a defensive end rather than a linebacker, which will save the team about $2.7 million, according to the position designation. When I read that, RJ, I go, man, they're nickel and diming him, man. Are they trying to save that much money to sign Dak? What exactly is going on here? But that is just part of the story.
So the 5th-year option for the class of 2021, which is the class that is up for 5th-year option, exercising this offseason, does happen to feature a higher value for the linebacker position. And that was weird. It was weird at first because pass rushers get paid more. But upon inspection, the reason for this is the outside linebackers in 3-4 defenses are muddying the waters. They're being classified as linebackers, your Von Millers of the world, so to speak, to use a really prominent example. They're, again, being listed as linebackers, and so their salary is inflating the linebacker position, not the defensive end position. So on the surface, this looks like the Cowboys are choosing to pay Micah Parsons $2.7 million less than had they designated him a linebacker. Now, you could say he is a defensive end. That's where he lines up. That's where he plays most of his time. And you could say the Cowboys are just being literal about this. I have to say, I'm still not 100% certain on this. This is one of the, there are this is a solar eclipse level thing where the answer is not painfully obvious. There are 3 possibilities here, Rob. One is that the Cowboys are just being cheap, like you mentioned. I actually think that's the least likely thing here. 2 is that the Cowboys are designating Micah as a defensive end as a show of good faith so that he can enter the negotiations with them for an extension where he will recoup this money in all likelihood, because defensive ends get paid more. So that this may be, a NOS boost in that conversation. What we think may have happened is relative to fifth-year options. There are certain escalators involved that can increase your option value. Micah has hit those escalators.
So
they
when
are
you say escalator, you're like the NBA. If you're all something defensive team,
Right.
you're suddenly
exactly
are now
what this is.
qualified to get something
Right.
extra. Okay.
So by reaching the Pro Bowl at least twice in his career so far, he's made it 3 times. But Micah hit an escalator relative to his fifth-year option value. So what his option value is equivalent to the franchise tag value in the same offseason. So if you want to pick up Micah Parsons' fifth-year option this year, it is the same value as the franchise tag value for the position that he plays. That is because of the escalators that he hit, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Okay. But now we move to the franchise tag discussion. When you are placing, and granted that deadline was yesterday, when you are placing the franchise tag on a player, in order to determine what position that person is being tagged as, it has nothing to do with team specification. It is based off of the position that you played the majority of snaps at in the previous season. So because we're now evaluating this through the prism of the franchise tag, Micah played the overwhelming amount of last year at defensive end, not your classic off-ball linebacker, which even though that position is inflated by outside linebackers, that's how the positions are classified. And that's weird because Micah was classified as a linebacker in the Pro Bowl, which is also run by the NFL. So there's some weird stuff happening here. But the point is, it really does seem like this was out of the Cowboys' hands. That's my assessment of it all, that this kind of flew and processed through several channels to where this is I don't believe this is the Cowboys saying, oh man, we could really use this $2.7 million. If it is, I will say it is a galactically dumb decision on their part.
If there's even a whiff of them nickel and diming it, if there's even a sniff that their hands weren't tied, there will be hell to pay. The edge will be phenomenal. The next podcast will be phenomenal. The moment he finds out that the Cowboys,
by the way,
if they did in fact choose, and they didn't have to cut him short nearly $3 million, which in the grand scheme in these guys' pockets is kind of nominal, but still it's the principle of the thing.
It's ironic that you say the name of his podcast specifically because it's called The Edge because he's an edge rusher. He's a defensive end. I mean, so I do think this, again, I really, really, really have a hard time buying as much as I want to kill the Cowboys for a lot of other things. I have a very difficult time conceiving that they did this to save money because if anything, if they did do that, they galaxy brain themselves because now Micah and his agent, David Mulugeta, can say, okay, he's a defensive end. That's what we're coming to the extension conversation as. So again, they really stood to gain absolutely nothing by saving 2 points because he's going to make that money up anyway. So I think this was just a matter that was outside of their control. And I do think that David Mulugeta and Micah have a case with the NFL if they do want to file a grievance and that's what maybe would have been nice is if the Cowboys had said, hey, look, we want to go through extraordinary efforts to make sure that Micah gets as much money as possible. And it is possible that their hands were truly just tied and they couldn't do that. And this is just something that falls on the shoulders of the player and their representation. But it is weird, and it does not necessarily – this doesn't come up a lot in the NFL. There are very few players that kind of belong to two different position groups like this.
It's such an interesting thing because as you've described it, it appears good on the NFL Players Association negotiators for getting this built in. If a rookie guy that makes 3 Pro Bowls should be franchised. They should get that kind of money. That was brilliant negotiating. It doesn't happen very often, so it was easy for the owners to give up on that point. But at the same time, to hamstring them by the decision that is just by the way that your defensive coordinator decided to line you up more than 3 or 4 times a game, where it added up over a season where suddenly you're a different position, even though by your heart, by your scheme, and by your play, you're something else. That's
But
one of
that's
those
not the case
unintended
here.
consequences.
He's not a linebacker.
Well,
I mean,
we could define what a linebacker
he
or
doesn't. He never plays. I mean, he does, but like he so
does.
rarely plays off the ball.
But he shouldn't be
is an edge
hamstrung
rusher.
by being a great player capable of doing two things. And that's the unintended consequences of this. And I think, like you said, if I'm Cowboy guy, if I'm Steven, I've got a flow chart behind me telling you exactly why I shorted him that money. I didn't want to do this. This was something that was out of my hands. We're going to do our very best to fix this when it really comes due. But this is what we did. I agree with, I would have made everybody aware. I'm trying to give this guy, Micah Parsons, every penny I got.
Again, I don't think that Micah got screwed by the positional labeling here. He is a defensive end. That is a completely fair descriptor of who he is and the position that he plays. This isn't Jimmy Graham being labeled a tight end when he really was a slot receiver.
Now you brought up Graham, which was a good one on the offensive side of the ball. But another one you brought up that I didn't remember was Jadeveon Clowney. Kind of ran into this before, and he did kind of appeal.
He did. So Clowney ran into this because that's a different kind of defense and the way they lined him up. I would also offer, I know you brought up Clowney, but the Cowboys themselves ran into this with Byron Jones.
Safety corner?
Because that's exactly why. Because safeties get paid less. But the snaps that he played were mostly at safety. Now that one, I think Byron had a bit of a larger case to be upset about because he fluctuated between the two so much more frequently. But I mean, nobody would ever classify his podcast is called The Edge. It's not called the off ball. You know what I mean? Like, so he knows he's an edge rusher. Everybody does. That's where he not only makes the most impact, but that's literally, he played like 92% of the snaps at the edge rush position. This isn't like 51-49 and they just leaned on semantics. You know, this is truly who he is. It may just be an unfortunate, again, where this got muddied isn't with the Cowboys or with Micah Parsons. It's with the NFL, and it's because of how they classify outside linebackers.
It's the way that the NFL Players Association and the league negotiated the agreement, that how they're going to get paid. And it seems amicable. If you ask me at a negotiation table, first of all, if you've done 3 and we're going to give you franchise level money as both the owner and the players, I go, yeah, that sounds like a great deal. And then you go, well, how do we quantify what position you're in? And somebody, either the prime negotiator or whoever's facilitating the meeting goes, well, how about we just quantify the number of snaps and the positions they were in those snaps? I would probably go, yeah, that sounds right. But that's not really the best way to do it now, is it?
The fix, and Pledge brings up a point in the brigade bar, says, I'm old enough to remember when rushers were upset with being tagged as linebackers instead of, that's why, again, everybody's like, the linebacker number is higher? Right. What? Like, it was a weird thing.
Who should decide?
Well, you shouldn't decide. Again, that this is dumb to call him a linebacker.
But who should decide? Or should there be a decision that even needs to be made?
It shouldn't be either one. You use the words pass rusher. That should be the designation. It should be you're a pass rusher. And I know that like the NFL is so like, oh my gosh, we love our labeling system, but like the game has evolved. And so again, what's muddying this is your outside linebackers who are inflating the linebacker salary. There are amazing off-ball linebackers that are worth being paid, Fred Warner, whatever the case may be. But because you have outside linebackers falling into the linebacker camp on a technicality, you're losing that inflation on the defensive end market. Well, you should just merge those two and call them pass rushers. And you shouldn't do that just for reasons like this. You should do that for Pro Bowl lists, for all pro lists, because you have players who miss out because of the wonky, stupid labeling system when they really belong, in places like that and with accolades like that because they're amazing pass rushers. But you're too pedantic about the way you go about this, NFL. So you end up in a situation where there's this weird murkiness.
So let's take this to the nth. You have pass rushers, you have pass blockers, you have ball carriers, you have ball receivers, you have ball throwers, and you have tacklers or run. I mean, at what point can we get away from the broad? I mean, because safeties aren't worth as much as cornerbacks, but we could say you're pass defenders.
Well, that's weird too, because you have some defensive coordinators like Micah's old one that like to play safeties up on the line as linebackers. So like now, neither of those positions are getting a lot of money. But what do you call Jaron Kearse? What do you call? He literally called Marquise Bell a linebacker. So I mean,
this is a problem that's going to need to be fixed. You can sense it. This is going to jump up again.
It does, but I don't put any blame on anybody related to the Cowboys here.
No.
And that this isn't their fault. This isn't Micah's fault. This is the NFL's fault for their dumb labeling system and how it all affects each other. Like it's stupid in that sense. And yes, Micah was costed $2.7 million. If you're worried about that, he will make it up. His agent is not going to let that $2.7 million fall through the couch cushions in their extension. He will make sure that he gets that. If he doesn't file a grievance with the NFL to make sure he gets it right now as just part of the standard fifth-year option.
Hey, coming up, Caitlin Clark is going to be in the WNBA next year. We know that now. She has announced it. But there was a brief time, and it wasn't too many days ago, that she might have stayed in college because of an NIL deal offered by the network that broadcasts her games. Is that the fix to college sports, or is that a problem that needs to be addressed? We're going to look at college players, the money involved, and how we fix the problems that still are around with all the money that is flooding into the game. We're talking Caitlin. Then we're going to talk the Spurs. They got their ass kicked. I didn't say that. Their coach did. And we'll hear from him just a little bit after 9:30. And we got a lot to do, so go hydrate. We'll be right back. You're on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
94.1 San Antonio Sports Star Spring Golf Classic is set Monday, March 25th at Golf Club of Texas, with plenty of prizes, including a shot at $50,000 in a trip to the big game. Presented by Sierra Auto Group. Go to sasportstar.com and get signed up. A four-person scramble, $120 per player to join, or a group of four can sign up together for $400. Then, after your round, join the San Antonio Sports Star gang for the after party, where the Blitz will be live at 90 Proof Bar and Grill on the corner of Highway 90 and Lucky Ranch, 10 minutes from Golf Club of Texas. It's San Antonio's Spring Golf Classic, benefiting the Will Smith Foundation, Monday, March 25th, presented by Flight by Yingling and 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
He's one of those kids that only laughs at real anger. I don't know if you've ever met one of those peaches, but see, most 2- and 3-year-olds, they laugh at manufactured anger. You can go up to a kid that age and just go, "Rawr," and they're like, and this kid's like, I want to see your blood pressure spike, man.
From his multiple Netflix specials, comedian Tom Segura brings his new tour, Come Together, to Frost Bank Center Friday, March 8th. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com.
Gomez Law Firm has been taking care of the people of San Antonio for almost 50 years, the leader in personal injury law. Jose, tell us a little bit more about what you do.
We do ride-sharing cases, 18-wheeler cases. Obviously, we've done those for very many years. Work injuries. We will be happy to take a look at and see if we can help.
If you have been injured in an accident or hit by a company vehicle, then you need to visit joegomezlaw.com.
We've been around for almost 50 years, and we're not going anywhere.
Call the Gomez Law Firm at 736-4040.
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early so everyone can go home on time, there's Grainger, offering professional-grade supplies backed by product experts, so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on access to a committed team ready to go the extra mile for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey everyone, it's Joe Montana. Spreading the word about pneumococcal pneumonia, a potentially serious bacterial lung disease that can be life-threatening. If you're 65 or older like me, you're at increased risk. So, what's the game plan? A strong defense. Pneumococcal pneumonia can strike at any time in any season, so you shouldn't wait to help protect yourself. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist about vaccination today and learn more at knowpneumonia.com. That's KNOW pneumonia.com.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
Working from home, you realize you don't have enough outlets or USB ports. Hill Electric can fix that for you. For over 3 decades, the family-owned Hill Electric has served San Antonio homes and businesses. From adding an outlet, fixing that fuse that always blows, or that flickering light, Hill Electric has the right service at the right price, and there is never a service charge and always free estimates. Call Hill Electric at 210-404-9074. That's 404-9074. Or go to hill-electric.com.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out. Go to nomoredraftywindows.com for full offer details. Attention all homeowners. Do you know when to replace your windows? Feeling too hot or cold? It's time to replace. Fog between the glass. Time to replace. Spending too much on expensive energy that literally goes out the window? It's definitely time to replace. If you've put off replacing windows in your home because it's too expensive, here's great news. You can now get a free in-home window consultation and free price quote from Renewal by Andersen, the company with the most 5-star reviews among leading full-service window replacement companies. And right now, you can save $359 off every window and $887 off every door. Just text ENERGY to 200-300 for your free consultation on top-quality affordable windows or patio doors for no dollars down, no payments, and no interest for a year. That's right. You don't pay a dime for an entire year. Plus, save $359 off every window and $887 off every door. But hurry, these big dollar savings end this month. Text ENERGY to 200-300 right now. Text the word ENERGY to 200-300. Don't wait. Text ENERGY to 200-300.
Good morning, everybody. Joe Reinagle here. Coming up on the Blitz, the Spurs were in Houston last night. They'll continue their road trip. We'll look back at last night and look forward to what's coming up. How's Wemby doing? Is he okay? Plus, the NFL rumor mill continues. We'll dive into all of that. Hey, Rob, there's a rumor going around that you got hacked yesterday. Is that true?
No, that was me.
I take pictures of flowers every now and then. It was a lovely photo on a beautiful spring afternoon. It was 91 degrees, breezy and green. Got a little whiff of a mountain laurel out back. I had to take a picture. I'm sorry I'm old.
I don't think
I was
that
not
makes you,
happy.
I don't think that makes you pleasant.
I would like to think so. There's nothing better than the smell of a mountain laurel. There's nothing better.
That I would push back on.
Welcome to the Morning Huddle. Today is March the 6th here in Texas. Doing good on March the 6th day?
Yeah.
The reason I brought it up, we're in the midst of the 13 days of the Siege of the Alamo.
Right. We're also 8 days away from Pi Day.
This was the day back in 1836 that the battle ended. All was thought to be lost. It wasn't. Many years ago. My boat driver's coming back. Big day down on the river. Celebrate who we are in San Antonio. Remembering the Alamo. Remembering the Alamo is key. We had the Spurs go down last night. That wasn't pretty. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. I promise we're going to dig right into Alpi Sanguin and how he destroyed the once and maybe potential All-NBA and current and should be Defensive Player of the Year. Victor Wembanyama. But first, there's an interesting story that's coming out about Caitlin Clark, the biggest name in all of sports as we sit today. She announced this week right around after she broke Pete Maravich's record that she's going to go pro, going to go in the WNBA where she belongs. She had the opportunity to stay in college. She's still got some more eligibility. And Fox Sports, FS1, the network that broadcasts Iowa or Big Ten women's basketball, considered it, we find out, actually paying Caitlin to stay in college, that they would pay her an NIL deal to stay at Iowa at least for another year so that they could continue to broadcast and make money off of Caitlin, let her earn a little bit of what they're making, let her stay in school. They didn't offer it, but man, oh man, think about that and how it could affect your college sports. And I'll take it one step further. This is what will save the college sports game that so many of us love.
This is really fascinating. Excuse me, in outside of the box thinking. So kudos to Fox for considering it. It can't have been the first time that they considered doing this with an athlete, although maybe it is because Caitlin Clark's stature is that, otherworldly. But the possibilities that this represents are really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And what's to say, you could get so down the rabbit hole with this, but it makes sense. What's to say the Big Ten doesn't give her an NIL deal? Why is
it's an interesting idea. Who's to say who can pay whom what? But
right,
the one thing we know right now,
say why does it have to be payment? Why can't the Big say we'll give you a share of the revenue you generate for us or whatever? Or why can't that go to Iowa and then go to her? You know what I mean? Like, everyone involved seemingly could have a piece, and she deserves her piece of all those pieces.
And this is the ramifications of the Wild West atmosphere that has been allowed to happen. It hasn't been created. It's just the outflow of a bunch of different events, from the coalization of conferences to the escalation of money involved, to the ability to the transfer portal, which is in itself an issue. And then the constitutional right of an adult to contract as they see fit, if available, when you're 18 or older, regardless of things. So the confluence caused this Wild West atmosphere of free transfers and money going crazy, and coaches are losing players and paying through the nose, and we all hate it. The outflow of how the sausage has been made has been pretty good. We enjoy the outflow. College sports is better the last couple of years than it's been in a long time. But there is a problem. And the problem, I think, at the end of the day, is players moving. It's not players getting paid. It's players having the right that so many of us take so dearly to take their talents wherever they like, as long as they're not under some contractual obligation to stay. And the fix is either from a conference, like you just talked, maybe Big Ten advocates you stay in this conference, so you get the money, or you stay at that team, you get the money. It could be an advertiser, an NIL type, like a car dealer that wants to give an NIL to any athlete and say, well, I'll pay you, but this 2-year deal means you're staying here. Whether you're playing for this team or not, I will continue to pay you, but you ain't going to play for anybody else. That could lock them in. Or finally, what is probably is the answer that we're headed toward. It's just how we're going to get there. That began this week.
So I want to spin this in a different direction, if you'll allow me.
Yeah,
Ready?
please. There's a lot of answers out here. We just got to figure out how to get there.
Well, no, I only have questions. So we've talked a lot about the upcoming EA college football game. We talked about it from a consumer standpoint, right? Like, oh, it's probably going to suck because EA sucks.
I think I know where you're going. Worked for it, and you're right.
Anyone who's ever worked for EA sucks, clearly, right?
Clearly. Those that left of their those that were shown the door, I like them more than those that.
So one of the biggest problems, and this is a necessary prerequisite with current EA games, is the Ultimate Team system.
Right.
For anyone who doesn't play Madden, let's just use that as an example. The company EA doesn't put a lot of resources and energy in developing other game modes because they put it behind this, because it's based on microtransactions.
Right.
It's a game mode that requires you to find cards.
You buy your wins.
You can buy card packs and obviously increase the randomization, helping you out. You get Patrick Mahomes to be your quarterback or whatever. Like, you need these cards and you can earn them, but the quickest way to get them is obviously to pay for them, hence the term microtransactions. So we know that EA is developing college football to return this fall, and that the NIL portion of this discussion has obviously been running rampant and is the reason that we had the absence that we had to begin with. And EA has seemingly solved this by saying, hey, every athlete except for Arch Manning, apparently, for $600 and a free copy of the game, you can be in the game. That's our price that we're paying you. Who's to say, Rob? Everybody's worried from a consumer standpoint that EA is going to focus on Ultimate Team within this game. But if you're Arch Manning, again, let's just use him, a highly marketable player, who's to say you don't deserve a piece of the microtransactions? Because people are buying the packs to get your card in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So there should be something that you get commensurate with that isn't just a flat $600 fee.
Well, I think that's the next step, but I want to take it to what that could mean for EA. So EA looks at this, and we're paying every college football player in the country that agrees to it. We're paying them $600. Well, couldn't they build in, to keep the sanctity of the game, especially the dynasty mode that we love so much? Yeah, you can get the money, but you can't leave the school. They could contract and say, you know what? We'll pay you $10,000. We'll pay you $100,000. Mr. Arch Manning, but you will be only a Longhorn for as long as you're in college. You will never get to transfer, and we won't let you go, nor will we pay you if you tried to break it. That could be a way to regulate the league.
Similar to whenever Arch decides if he does or does not want to enter the NFL draft, kind of like we've talked about Caitlin Clark and Fox talking to her about going professional. Who's to say that they don't say, Arch, we'll give you $5 million to stay in college football so that we can sell more copies of EA 27 or whatever it is.
That. That's the one. Now, that's a logical answer, and it makes some sense to the player.
That's the exact thing that Fox was positing here. They say, hey, Caitlin, we'll give you this money to stay in college because we benefit from your standing as an Iowa Hawkeye, not as an Indiana Fever player.
And the next step might be collegiate careers last 5-10 years. I don't know. But we know that is an unintended consequence or an intended. We know that will happen if that's allowed to happen. But what I'm saying is we know what the answer is. And it's not other entities paying the players. It's the university treating these players as they should have been treating them from the very beginning. They're employees and should be treated as such. They're as important to the university as any instructor as far as money brought in. So they get hired on a 4-year deal with a renewable contract, but as long as you're renewed, you cannot leave, and you get paid. You get paid to be here. The transfer portal is shut down unless they're willing to go for nothing.
Let me take this one step further from a player perspective, right? Like if you're talking about free market negotiations, because we are in a wild, wild west, there are no contracts, right? What is the most hot button college football thing? Is players sitting out of bowl games, right?
Yeah, I think that's a great representative of what it is. Yeah,
right. But so this is somewhat related to that. What's to stop Caitlin Clark from saying, you know what, I don't need to play in the NCAA tournament. You have to pay me per game. Every round that I advance, ESPN, because you're broadcasting the tournament, I need a piece of that because that's not part of my, not contract. That's not the right term. But what's to stop her or anyone from saying that relative to the same bowl game discussion? Like, you're doing it for your school and pride and winning and all those sorts of things that make logical sense. But those are not games that are necessarily a part of your mandated contract. Again, that's a weird way to put that.
RJ, that's the great thing about negotiating your own contract. If you can work that deal, more power to you. That doesn't mean everybody gets it. You're contracting with them. And if the contract says you can do that, yeah, congratulations, you negotiated well. Some contracts might not let you do that.
What's to stop? Let's go back to Arch Manning from saying, you know what, ESPN, who's broadcasting the SEC where I play football now, if you send game day to Austin, I need a bigger piece. I need a piece of that. Like,
Build
why
that
not?
in. You hire a lawyer to negotiate your deal. Build that in. I want a percentage of all that.
You're utilizing my standing to amplify the product that you benefit from. So why should I not, benefit from that? Like, all these questions are possible that I hadn't. Obviously, we've thought about like the teeniest, what we felt like were tiniest intricacies of the NIL world, just in a general sense. But this Fox thing really untapped. I think in a video game when you go to a new area and the map starts to like voo, voo, voo. That's how I feel like this Fox thing affected people.
It is the preeminent question. The next question that has to be answered is, how do we keep players grounded in the universities that they chose, while at the same time making sure they are monetarily taken care of for the efforts that they're given, for the consideration they're given for going to the university and offering their name and offering their abilities, their skills, and their very life sometimes. The very least they can do is be paid and taken care of appropriately by that university. Bypass these NIL things. Those can still be there. But the answer is what happened in Dartmouth. Go read it. The Dartmouth players have voted to unionize. It's happened once before and it got shot down by the courts. This one looks like it's a more appropriate gesture in this next step to making college sports a more equitable system for the players. And I think at the end of the day, we're all for that.
This is wild.
It is.
I mean, what a trailblazer Caitlin is and has been. And to turn that, it wasn't an actual offer, but I mean, to be that great, to cause an actual network of the Murdochs to say, you know what?
She's so
Let's
important.
think about this.
She's more important than the team. She's more important than the logo, the Iowa Hawkeye logo.
She's more important than the sport.
Yes.
I mean, that's crazy to think. And it's not unfounded, or it's not, like a hyperbolic reaction to her. That's just incredible that exists that way.
His name is Alperen Sengun. He scored 45 points. What happened? It was a royal ass kicking. We'll hear from Pop. The Spurs go down. They can't stack three. We'll look at how and why and celebrate a record tied. We'll be right back. This is the Morning Huddle. You're on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
It's the Blitz with Jason and Joe. Afternoons at 2.
Coming up on the Blitz, the Spurs were in Houston last night. How'd they do? We're going to react to all of that.
Plus, the NFL rumor mill continues to churn. Of course it does. The latest NFL news and news on the Dallas Cowboys on the Blitz starting at 2.
The Blitz with Jason and Joe. Afternoons at 2 on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
If you've been thinking about buying a new car or pre-owned car, truck, or SUV, think Ancira.com. Browse through thousands of new and pre-owned cars, trucks, SUVs, and RVs. Shop for your next new Chevrolet, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Ford, Buick, or GMC. Or if you're looking for an import, we have a huge selection of Kias, VWs, and Nissans. Or for your home away from home, a full line of RVs and campers. And you'll always get the lowest Ancira price, in store or online at Ancira.com.
Hi, everybody. It's Joe Reinagel. You know, now is a great time of year to get your roof inspected and ready for our crazy spring weather. Be it hot, cold, rain, or hail, who knows what Mother Nature has in store for us this year. Call Stevens Roofing at 210-785-0994. You know, your roof protects your home and your family. A quality roof overhead means comfort, confidence, and certainly peace of mind. Now is the time to get your roof ready for spring. Call Stevens Roofing at 210-785-0994 or go to stevensroofing.net.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies candidates with the right skills, sends you great matches, then you can easily invite them to apply. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. See for yourself. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Something bad has happened to Mom.
Streaming March 14th on Peacock.
Joy Delaney, mother of 4, has gone missing.
From the author of Big Little Lies and 9 Perfect Strangers.
She will come back.
You think we're this big happy family?
I have a confession.
Starring Oscar nominee Annette Bening, Sam Neill, Jake Lacey, and Allison Brie.
Secrets will poison any family, and what you don't know can hurt you.
Apples Never Fall. Streaming March 14th, only on Peacock.
Not to brag, but Progressive's Name Your Price tool is mankind's greatest tool ever. Even better than the wheel. Sure, without the wheel, we wouldn't have modern transportation or funny videos of dogs riding skateboards. But without the Name Your Price tool, we wouldn't have easy access to auto insurance options based on our budget. And, well, cars do need wheels. They also need insurance, and insurance never goes flat. Learn more about the greatest tool ever, the Name Your Price tool at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. With eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health San Antonio will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 210-615-7777. That's 210-615-7777. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
San Antonio Sports.
Hey, gather around. It is the Morning Huddle. We're winding down a 4-hour show. You missed anything, go to sasportstar.com. We call it the audio vault. You should call it your podcast central. Anything you missed that we do live, you can catch right there. Don't forget the Blitz is just around the corner. It is March the 6th, about 9:42. For those of you who care, back in 1836, the fight was done. About 5 a.m. back then, the Mexican soldiers climbed the wall, and by sunup, the battle was done. The 13 days of the Alamo complete. The battle not done, but the Alamo lost, soon to be a country. If you're a San Antonian, new or old, you owe it to yourself today to go and Google the 13 Days of the Alamo. That's narrated by the voice of San Antonio, Henry Guerra. Spend some time and learn a little bit of history about what went on in our great city, why we're here. Phenomenal day, a phenomenal listen. Do yourself a favor, spend some time. It's a great podcast. Listen to it on your way home in between all of these sports that you're listening to right here. The Spurs last night offered us exactly what we had become accustomed to. A valiant effort that went down in defeat. But what was different last night that we haven't seen but 2 or 3 times this year was a terrible game from Wemby. And I qualify that by saying a terrible game from Victor Wembanyama is just a couple of plays away from a triple-double. That's a terrible game.
I think you're doing him a bit of a benefit by ignoring his defensive performance. I mean, cool. He almost had a triple-double. That's great. But defensively, he was yikes. I mean, this wasn't a game. This was
embarrassing, RJ. And I think more than anything else, it's the one thing that we knew to be true, that he is only 19, and when push comes to shove, he is going to get bodied, for lack of a better term.
He's going to get shoved. He's going to get pushed and shoved. Yeah, I mean.
It's interesting. Last night, as we were getting ready for the game, my brother, who was watching the game at his home, doesn't have the same access that a lot of us are dealing with. He doesn't have access to the Bally Sports app. And he has to watch a lot of the road games on crack streams. So he was watching the Houston Rocket broadcast as we got going, and he texted me about 10 minutes before the game. Hey, man, I'm watching the pregame. I'm having to watch the Rockets, haha. And he said, this is what they're saying. His name is Alpi. Expect him to be physical, to get in the chest of Victor Wembanyama, get him in foul trouble because his backup is Zach Collins. How many dunks are we going to get on Zach tonight? That's what was said on TV prior to the game. Ime Udoka's crew then set foot on the court and went big brother on the Spurs. Just beat him up. Beat him up. Pop post-game said they got their ass kicked.
That's what you call a royal ass whooping right there. They deserve a lot of credit. They were physical from the get-go till the end of the game. They came after it that way. They played that way. It put us in mud. We didn't respond to it very well, and you got the outcomes. Young group needs to understand the road is a lot different than at home. It requires a little bit more mental toughness. So we'll move on, try to play better at SAC.
Wow. If only they had been told that prior to March 5th. I mean, if only, Pop, there had been, I don't know, an elongated venture away from the Frostbank Center where they could have learned what life on the road in the NBA is like. If only such a phenomenon existed for the Spurs to experience that baptism by fire. No. It took a random Tuesday night in Houston for them to learn that lesson. Thank you very much, Coach.
It's those hard-won lessons. Post-game, Wemby, he didn't play a very good game. I think he would admit it.
It was his worst game as a professional. Right?
There was a shoulder issue that, he was a game-time decision and he got in.
Gosh.
I'm not saying that was the problem. I think he looked tired. And the problem with that is, when you grow up, you're tired. You never show you're tired. You at the free throw line, you're grabbing your shorts. Coach is always like, stand up, man. Don't look tired. There was one play in particular that really just exemplified not only his 19-year-oldness, but his Europeanness. He was ready to sit down. He was tired. And they were down playing defense. He turned and saw Jalen Green dribbling toward him. Now, granted, he already had 2 fouls. He just stepped out of the way and gave him a layup. Now, it's really hard to give Defensive Player of the Year to a guy who just steps out of the way and gives a guy a layup. Draymond Green has his own thoughts about who should get Defensive Player of the Year. And while individual stats and play certainly matters because it is the Player of the Year, Draymond thinks the team matters as well.
He's currently second in odds to win Defensive Player of the Year, although I can't quite agree with that because they have the 24th best defense in the league. Now, that's where you kind of get into his team is not that good, they're young, blah, 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 but what he's doing is incredible. But you just can't move the line like that. You're not allowed to, just because he's young and the team is bad, a guy on the 24th best defense in the league can win Defensive Player of the Year.
As of today, the Spurs ranked 22nd in defensive rating.
Oh,
and I agree
up too.
Well, I agree with Draymond. And what I think that, we as Spurs fans need to do is we need to stop moving the goalposts. All right. When times are great and Wemby's, dropping a 5x5, he's doing this and he's barely in the NBA. He's so young and this is amazing. Well, then we can't turn around and use the age as an excuse. I appreciate Draymond kind of, being straight up about this and saying, yeah, he is young and that's all true. But if we're going to have conversations about him being defensive player of the year, then we have to hold him to a high standard. And last night was pathetic. I mean, he got worked. He, like you said, just stood out of the way. I mean, it's one thing to get worked and to get beat, but to absolutely have no effort against a bad team. Again, he got worked by Joel Embiid, and there's a little bit of, okay, dude, hey, that happens, right? That happens every night almost to a lot of people. But to get worked by the Rockets, I mean, this was a different, it wasn't a new low. It was a different kind of low, if that makes sense.
No,
not a Zach low, but a new low.
And that's the problem. I mean, we wanted to, the expectations rose, and then we see that he is on a team that is under-talented and very young. He is. But I will put it to you that without him, they're the worst team, and not only in the league this year, they're the worst team in the history of the NBA defensively. Without him, they would be giving up 140 a night. Last night, you said it, we said it, everybody said it. It was Victor's worst overall game. Did you know he still had 7 blocks?
So these are empty calories at this point in time. These are I don't put,
dude. I don't care who you are. 7 blocks, and we're looking at him like, dude, you gave up 45.
You said yourself that the 5x5 is going to become a Wemby, and so while he's doing things that are Herculean for most people, these are average performances for him. And so if that's the case, then we can't fall over when he has 7 blocks in a game. The guy gets 5 rolling out of bed. You know what I mean? So, yes, it is objectively impressive. If Patty Mills, new member of the Miami Heat, had 7 blocks in a game, we would build him a statue.
He
we talked about all the
first
statues
on the ESPN top plays of the night. He would be.
Right. But this is normal. This is ho-hum. This is, standard operating procedure. So, again, you cannot have it both ways, Rob. You can't say, oh, yeah, but he's so, blah, blah, this is amazing, and then be like, 7 blocks? The guy had a triple-double with 10 blocks, and we're now going to freak out over 7 in a losing effort where he got worked by the Rockets? No. I mean, relax. Call it both ways.
See, here's the problem that big men in particular always run into. You should have. You should have had 7 blocks. You're 7'9". You should have. No, there's no should have.
Oh,
he went and did it. He's playing against guys. It was a terrible game, but we forget the fact that the cat had 7 blocks.
No,
in 30 minutes.
So
that's
it
rookie
can just
of
be
the
that
year.
It was a terrible game.
That's
it doesn't have to be
player of the year. It
doesn't have to be it was a terrible game, but these are the really good parts. It can just be that it was a terrible game.
A terrible game, but he still had in a terrible game 7 blocks. And there's nobody in the league today that you go, that was a terrible game, and he had 7 blocks. They would say, that dude had 7 blocks last night. They lost, and he only scored 12 points, but he had 7 blocks. He gets 7, well, you should have had 8.
I'm not mad about the amount of blocks that he didn't have. I'm mad that he got worked in the paint over and over and over.
And that's the scary thing, because that's not going to go away. And film travels.
So the blocks are meaningless if you're letting somebody go off for 45 points. I mean, you know what I mean?
And
so it's cool that he had blocks, and it adds to the resume and the end of season numbers, and that's fine. But if you are getting worked for 45 in a losing effort against one of the worst teams in the NBA, that is such a bigger and louder thing than the 7 blocks that are difficult to achieve, but kind of par for the course for who you are.
That it showed one of the primary issues that Pop and the team are going to have to address as they get going. He needs a personal protector. He needs a little bit of physical help down there, and he doesn't have it. And when he faces guys like Sanguin, who came in flexing like, I'm going to put you in the paint, and I'm going to beat you all night long. And he did, along with others. Yes. And there's no way that we saw a scroll earlier, and this was earlier in the day, and I wish I could give the person credit. It did look a lot like, and this is a distant comparison, but kind of, when David was left alone to guard Akeem way back when. It looked like, man, no matter what Wemby does tonight, he ain't going to be able to stop Sanguin. 1, he's feeling it, and 2, he ain't big enough. He ain't physically heavy enough to keep him away from where he needs to be. And that is going to be a problem from here on out, as I keep saying. Now, the good news is they get Sacramento tomorrow night with an opportunity. with an opportunity, baby.
Let's go.
They can break the record, and they get to do it against an undersized post. He gets to play against a different kind of dude in Sabonis, a different set of problems, but I don't think you're going to see him get dominated in the paint like that anytime soon. In fact, I might be shocked he even plays.
Tomorrow is an important night. NBA history on the line.
On the line, 121 consecutive games of 20 assists or better. We're calling at the TMH record because nobody else cares but us. I literally think us and the good folks that you name the stat service that came up with this thing are the only ones that give a damn about this.
It's our thing, though. We've come this far. You know what I mean? Tracking and tracking and tracking and tracking. And now it's time to take this ball across the goal.
One more game can be done. You know, as the
baby,
the spotlight has really hit the Spurs, and you know the questions that are about why aren't you better? Why have you won so few games? And they talk about you gonna have to go do something. You got to go get some vets. You're gonna have to get some help. You know, think about where Houston is right now, because Houston is where we are now. They were here last year. And they thought that they had drafted appropriately. They got Jabari and they had Jalen Green and the Cam Whitmore's there now, and they have everything they need. Now they need old dudes. They need vets. So they went and got Dylan Brooks, and they went and got Toronto Van Vliet. It has been an utter catastrophe. For all of you that are saying, Spurs, you got to do something. Well, if you do it wrong, you end up with the Rockets. I mean, Van Vliet and Dylan Brooks, I forgot they were even there. Now, Van Vliet had a game last night. Brooks was a waste. But they went and did what they were told to do, and it hadn't worked. So before you start yelling at the Spurs to go get busy, it has to be appropriate moves, so you end up like those guys in Houston. Hey, the blitz is around the corner. RJ, go find yourself a tight end and worship.
I'm going to go find myself a Mount Laurel. That's what I'm going to go find myself.
And smell the sweetness that is. We want to thank everybody for hanging around with us. It's the beginning of a... We'll see you again tomorrow. This has been the Morning Huddle.
This is 94.1 San Antonio Sports